Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tub Takes. This is a weekly video podcast where we talk about all of the latest, greatest happenings in VGC. And this week is going to be a doozy. We've got two very special guests, and of course, my co-host Alex. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Welcome myself back to the Tub Takes.
Right, and to defend your champion of Illinois, right?
Oh, true,
Hmm.
true. Wait, I'm not the
The,
defending
the the
champ.
best player in Illinois.
Oh, true, true. Fair.
And then we got Mr. Pokemon Showdown himself here on the channel to talk about how he descended from his castle to bestow upon us the best of three
Wait,
ladder. We've got Leonard. How you doing?
Zeril?
Yeah, this is a secret reveal. I've been Zarel the whole time. You can call me Big Z. So yes, I'm the Wobblefett. Pleasure to be with you guys today.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. And speaking of Big Z, we got Big Z Zap VGC himself as well, who is coming off winning the Beast Coast tournament, the biggest Regulation E tournament of all time, forever. Certainly,
All
there will be
time.
no bigger Regulation E tournaments ever again.
Never, of course.
How you doing, Grant?
I got some tests coming up, but I decided to drop by, give you a little bit of my time. So
Appreciate
glad
that.
to be here.
Yeah, really appreciate you coming on. Hold up, my chat widget might not be working. But I guess on that note, today we are going to be talking about the Peoria regionals that are coming up. We're going to be talking about the Regulation E tournaments that have happened, most notably the Beast Coast tournament that Grant took down, and we are going to be talking about the new implementation on Pokemon Showdown, which is the best of three ladders. So I guess, Alex, what are we starting with?
I want to jump in here and mention something that's like a mild bit of news that we forgot to, and we're just going to throw it here at the top. I didn't actually put it in here because Regulation E was announced. Everyone was like, coping that it might be something different. Oh, it says ban list. But no, Regulation E was officially released, and yeah, it's just what everybody thought it was. It is going to be Regulation D plus the new Pokemon that were added in the DLC, the Teal Mask DLC. So just everybody know that it's what we've been practicing on Showdown. It's what people were expecting, I guess, most people. Yeah, there's nothing surprising there. So other than that, we I guess probably jump into talking about Beast Coast,
Okay.
which was held in that
Thank you,
Regulation
thank
E
you for
format.
reminding me about that because there were so many people on Twitter who were saying, "I can't believe we don't have the Regulation E rules. It's a week before Peoria. We don't have the Regulation E rules." And come on, guys. we knew the
You never
Regulation
know.
E rules.
They may have given us Walking Wake. Yeah,
Right? I mean, that would have
been.
been fun. I honestly, those guys, it's the second most angry I've been about Pokemon not being legal when they probably should be. Shout outs to
Yeah.
Deoxys from 2016. That was the one where I was like, it's catchable in the game now. Why can't we let this? I mean, it wouldn't have even been good.
No.
It would have been fun to have the option.
I want my expanding force Deoxys with Indeedee.
Oh my God. Wait a minute. No, I said 2016. I guess,
Yeah, no
yeah,
expanding force
2019
there.
probably.
Or Psychic
Whatever.
Drain for that matter.
But yeah, yeah, it would have been crazy if those guys were legal. But yeah, that is the format, and it's nice that we have official confirmation, so that nobody has to stress anymore. But hopefully, this is not some big surprise, and nobody was expecting like, you know, anything like GS Cup or whatever. I was joking that this format is GS Cup. You're allowed one Fluttermane per team. And you can say that for a number of other Pokemon. One Urshifu per team. No, that does line up.
Well, we got the four restricted. We got Ogerpon Grass, Ogerpon Rock, Ogerpon Fire, and Ogerpon Water, and you can pick one of them.
That's true.
You do get to pick one.
Mhm. Well, pick
Um,
one of three, but yeah.
oh wait, what? On the three?
Ogerpon Rock is not a Pokemon.
You think it's not a
Say it
Pokemon?
again.
Damn.
It's not
I was
real.
gonna say, which one are we throwing shade at? I haven't actually tried grass. I have not found a reason to use grass. Um,
I've done a little bit of, I guess, like theory crafting with it, and what I can say is, for the most part, if you have like another offensive Pokemon next to it, like Urshifu or Chimpo, it becomes really hard to like justify targeting Ogerpon, and like the damage it, I guess, pumps out is very respectable. Like
Mhm.
it's not what you would expect. I ran into like a loaded dice bullet seed set, and
Sure,
there
it
was
does get an
basically
item.
nothing I could do, or
Okay,
at least
dice
that's what
bullets
it felt
sounds
like.
pretty fun. Wait, no, it already
Yeah,
has the good grass moves. Wait, no, I actually never mind. I take it back. I don't like dice anymore.
The grass one that I
damn.
thought looked cool. I do think grass is the one that hasn't been explored and that should be explored. Although I
Mhm.
think
Mhm.
rock is actually very useful.
I think rock.
I think grass is cool because you get to click Spore Stance. You get to be super bulky, and then Terra if you need the speed boost and get to click Horn Leash and get it back up, and you get your item too, right? And so I think that's like the strongest set that you can do with grass that fire can do as well. Has better resistances, but does not get the speed boost, and that can be a problem for it.
And shout outs to Scarf Grass because it gets the cheating 2.25 speed boost if you Terra and have Scarf, which is just like silly. You can
Zoom.
kind of do some like Regieleki stuff, outrun Pokemon in Tailwind when you're not in Tailwind. That's pretty cool. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the first thing here that we wanted to talk about, which was the Beast Coast presents Safari Zone. This was a grassroots tournament, but it got enough attention that I think it's definitely worth talking about. It's going to lay the ground for a lot of Regulation E tournaments to come, especially with Peoria coming up this weekend. Players that are going to that tournament are, of course, going to be looking at the results of this one. Um, it had a pretty good prize on top of it. I don't actually remember what the prize was. Maybe somebody in the call knows.
Um,
Um,
I ended up getting like 47% of the pot, I think.
it's like a percent
And
of
I
the
think
pot.
someone got
Oh,
like 30 or something. So
okay. What was the entry fee for this one?
it was only like 20, which was
Oh,
very surprising. Yeah.
interesting. I mean, don't mind that. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, the
I
the
do want to say the entry fee being 20 um, is pretty impressive, especially given like how much regional costs right now. Given that this is in New York City, which has to be one of the more expensive places to host an event. Um, hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello.
Audi.
All right,
Hello.
all right,
Hello.
back.
Hi.
Hello.
Are you there?
Okay.
Hi.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, I need to restart my computer before Tub takes. Otherwise, this happens sometimes, and I forgot to do that. So that's my bad. Hopefully, it doesn't happen again. It probably will happen again.
If it happens again, I can always take over. We can figure it out.
Okay, yeah. So what was I ranting about? I was ranting about regional costs because you said it costed $20 to come in, and just like I think that what it comes down to is that this was turned into a piece of content creation, right? This was hosted by Wolf and Beast Coast. They are hopefully like turning a profit on it, not just via entry fees, but via like really monetizing their stream, really capitalizing on the fact that a bunch of impressive like well-known players showed up here, and the fact that not well-known players showed up here not just to play but also to commentate to be around the event. And so I mean I would really love to see Pokemon try to embrace that philosophy of really trying to make regionals a little less cost prohibitive by turning it in and simultaneously turning more of a profit from the stream itself and from the event itself rather than from the players that are trying to attend these events.
I mean, I do want to say that part of it was that they didn't have to rent an entire venue. And in terms of the number of staff, I mean, there were, I believe, like 4 judges. So that may play into it, at least I
Mhm.
think. Because
Yeah, they
that
didn't have to
venue
worry about
was
younger
very,
divisions
very
as
small
well.
compared to the number of people that ended up attending.
Right. And
Was it? Okay, wait.
We were
Hold
packed
on.
in like sardines.
Oh,
It was
okay.
crazy.
Yeah, you guys had to print your own team sheets?
No.
No?
Okay, I can go into that entire process.
What
So
happened?
funnily enough, I was the one of 3 people that ended up showing up to the event late. Because the way they had us register was they had us register, I believe, on start.gg. I'm not sure if that's the exact website, but they had us register there, and they would send an email for a limitless code, like individually, not automatically. And I believe me and those two other people didn't end up getting that. So the registration was almost like pushed back, I believe like 2 hours, an hour or 2 hours, because they had to, um, they accidentally started the tournament. So they had to stop the tournament, add me in, uh, reset the bracket, just like do all that, and then print team sheets by having everyone email the organization uh, with their team.
What the heck?
That's okay, but the team sheets are on the Limitless, right? They could just take a printout of what's on Limitless.
Yep, that's what they did. They do.
Okay. All right.
I just
so-
remember seeing that one image floating around of like somebody's email team sheet being just like 6 lines of Pokemon, and you just had to read
I think
that.
that was Justin's.
No,
I remember.
I thought Justin played against this person.
No, I think that was Justin's team sheet,
Wait,
and then he
really?
got a replacement.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah, that's at least what I saw. Just
Gotcha.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what? I take back what I said about regional entry fees. You get what you pay for.
Yeah, we get printed
Okay.
team sheets.
I'm paying $70
Sometimes.
for my. If I don't get a laminated team sheet at the next regional, I'm gonna be
Yeah,
pissed.
that's true.
I'm paying for that laminated team sheet.
Right?
I could go on for hours about this, but I'll call it here.
Well, no, we want to
Yeah.
hear about your experience at the event, and I guess like because it's really cool to see grassroots events happening. I love that. I love that Wolf has been hosting. I wish they would be outside of New York so I could actually go to them. But like, I love that there's more grassroots events for VGC, and I hope that there's more of them. So again, other than the hiccup at the start of the tournament, how do you think the tournament was?
Besides that, the tournament was like run surprisingly smooth. We didn't have that much space just for like all the players because I believe like 2/3 of the players ended up playing in like the main front area, and then you had like players scattered throughout the venue, on tables like near the bar, just like playing matches until I guess more people ended up dropping, as well as having stations. Essentially, we were in an esports cafe, so you also had some people like lined up on the computers
Mhm.
or on the monitors. That was an actually weird thing that I experienced in day two, because I believe the top 8 tables were all playing in like this just line of just monitors where you couldn't see your opponent. It was just like really awkward because you would you would reach your hand and pass your team sheet and then like kind of glance at them and say, "Good luck, have fun."
Yeah. Yeah. So disconnected.
That reminds me of how the side TVs were at NAIC. Where,
Yeah.
where they were so big you could not see your opponent like as you were playing them at all.
That was how it was
You
at
don't wanna-
Worlds too. At Worlds, it felt
Yeah,
like
it was at Worlds too.
You had to look around the.
And I mean,
TV.
to add on to that as well, like there was another line of computers behind the ones that the people were playing Pokemon on, and there were like people playing just like normal FPS games, as well as Wolf playing Smash with a bunch of friends
Nice.
during the round.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want to like dive into it too deep, but that is like a major factor of play is like, reading the emotions of your opponent. Like the game does have some elements like that where you're like, do they look like honestly, one of the things that's been biggest this year is when you notice your opponent looking at the team sheet. I'm like, oh, what are they looking for? Like, do they know I'm specs? Like, like, are they making a play because they see that I'm choice specs? Does that mean that they're going to just double protect to see what I lock into? I don't know. There's like a lot of different ways that like you can interpret the information of your opponent looking at the team sheet on a certain turn and other things like that. That it's just an element of the game that is kind of taken away when there's a big old monitor between the two of you. It's not like a crucial element of the game, but it's just something that you are robbed of when you're either playing on stream at a official event or in this case playing behind a screen or whatever. It's silly. But yeah, are there any other elements of the actual event that we need to talk about before we talk about like the teams and the results of it?
I
Do you have
thought
anything
the
else you wanted
format
to
was
ask, Scotty?
interesting. It was 7 rounds day one, and then day two was 5 rounds plus top eight, which 7 rounds day one, a little weird. But at the same time, get people. I imagine that day two was a lot smoother when you had, a third as many people in the venue.
It was very
Mhm.
smooth. I will say I felt like it was a bit awkward considering like that they had the top 32 for the day two. I think it was initially planned because there was supposed to be like 126 people, I believe, attending. There was only 90. So I guess the way that it ended up on the day two was that everyone who went X3 ended up cutting.
Gotcha. Okay. There's like similar rules in place for official tournaments where it's like, top 32 or
In
all X and twos, whichever is
in official
larger or something
tournaments,
like
it
that.
only hits that number at 227. Otherwise, it is 8 rounds top eight.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Um,
not exactly the official format, but again, I think this tournament was interesting because it was not necessarily held for the players; it was held for content creation, and so things I think were sort of optimized for how do you maximize the time that we get in the venue? How do we maximize the exposure that these top players get? And that was their solution, which is an interesting way of looking at it. And I didn't watch much of the stream, but it certainly led to some hype moments.
Actually, regarding the stream, it was kind of funny, but I somehow dodged every single stream match or just chance at a stream match until top four,
mhm.
despite playing, I guess, pretty much all the players who ended up cutting. So who
Almost
knows?
did the Michael Derbesti. You did it.
Yep.
You got one more than he did, at least. And then, I mean, you also came out on top of the end, which is a nice thing to have on stream. Um, so yeah, let's talk about the team that you used. So you played against James in the finals with your team of Ogrepon Fire, Qian Pao, Water Urshifu, Specs Golden Go, Rillaboom, and Roaring Moon. So what was the like without diving into like a full team report, what were like the main ideas when you were putting this team together?
Um, so my team initially came from a few ideas I had back in Regulation C, where I ended up testing, I believe, the same speed booster Roaring Moon, plus Golden Go. I ended up dropping it, but it was something that I felt was like very strong as a combination, just in terms of typing and also being able to, I guess, resist Landorus's Terror Blast, which obviously came into play in the finals. Um, but beyond that, um, I initially had the Ogrepon Rock. The idea with this team is to abuse Roaring Moon's pretty much Tailwind setup, and then using either Ogrepon, which you can use to Terra to get out of Landorus's Intimidate, or using Urshifu to, I guess, get big damage, get big knockouts, and almost like force one hit KOs that your opponent has to respect every single turn, whether it's from like Grassy Glide onto a Flutter Mane or going for Terra Surging Strikes onto Landorus.
I think the main thing that I'm like looking at this team and thinking is like, it looks an awful lot like a Tornadus team. That Roaring Moon being
Mhm.
a Tornadus, you would see teams built like this, going all in on the Tailwind with some heavy hitting Pokemon. And I'm also just making this point now. It looks like Tornadus did not make an appearance in the top eight. But even still, Tailwind still came out on top. Why do you think? Why would you prefer this Roaring Moon to using something like a Tornadus?
I think I mentioned this in the interview that I had for post match,
Yeah, on the
but
stream.
it's Roaring Moon's typing. Knockoff as a utility move is very helpful, especially versus Scarf Landorus,
Hmm.
because you can create a lot of just like situations where you can go for like knockoff and Terra, like Cudgel, and it immediately threatens the knockout. And like while you don't have to do it, it just enables like so many lines and ways for you to, I guess, pivot defensively and set up the Tailwind at, I guess, the correct moment, which ended up happening the majority of the time.
Yeah, no, that is cool. I mean, it's I think something that we're seeing in Regulation E is a bit of a resurgence in dragons. There's a lot of fire, water, grass offense, especially because of OgreCon and how popular it is that having a blanket typing that resists all of the offense that it's going to be going for outside of either coverage moves or being the rock one, which you said doesn't exist. um, uh, yeah. The actually, I don't. That might have been off air. I forgot. That's maybe before the thing started. Um, anyway, um, yeah, dragon types are just really good. You actually are you the only one with a dragon type in top 8 as well? I'm looking
Let
through.
me check. Maybe.
I have the page in the document if you're looking to find it quick. But yeah, I think that's the only dragon. And honestly, I'm not seeing any dragons until I see another roaring moon down in 12th.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there isn't a resurgence in dragons. Maybe dragon is just rising to the top. But not enough people are running it yet. I don't know. I think dragons are pretty cool right now. I'm a dragon fan. That's all I'll
Yeah.
say.
Especially with Fluttermane, I guess, dropping in usage, it feels a lot more usable to even have defensive like Dragon Terras, like a Terra Dragon Goldigo, which is what I ended up testing at one point.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Terra Dragon could also be a thing in this metagame.
Yeah, I mean, there's no Fluttermane to the top 3. That's crazy. When's the lot? I can't imagine that. It's been years.
Wait, why did you say top? Oh, okay. Joe does
Because
that one,
there's
sure.
1 and 4th. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Other notable things we're seeing here. It's been kind of a thing for a minute, but I just do think it's kind of awesome that Rock Arcanine as just kind of like a Pokemon that sees consistent usage. Like it's a typing that's so suspect, but both Terra and the chunk of nice resistances you get from being a Rock type make it still viable. I mean, this Pokemon is definitely a lot cooler than Colossal. I'll say that. Then
Intimidates are
Justin Tang
also
had what's
just in
that?
such short supply. With that, if you don't want a Landorus on your team, I mean, what else are you gonna do for Intimidate? There's
That's
just
true.
almost nothing else.
Well, Regulation E did bring back Arbok.
Hmm.
It's a good Intimidate Pokemon that resists Flutter. I think a lot of more people are going to be looking into it.
I
Yeah,
wonder how much Shadow Ball does to it.
all of it
I've
probably.
got the copy pasta. We're good. I noticed Arbok is coming back in the DLC, and it had me wondering if it could be a viable Intimidate user. I mean, the pure poison type could be a switch into Fluttermane attacks pretty easily. Plus, it has access to Haze if Dondozo is still running around. Could be a defensive set with Sludge Bomb, Switcheroo, Glare, Haze, and Black Sludge as possibly an item. Could that be viable?
Haze away the Intimidate. There you go.
Oh, okay.
I've got a whole folder with all of these saved. If you ever mention a Pokemon that RVGC has thought of, you know I'm gonna to bust it out. Okay, one other thing. We're talking about Fluttermane. I was looking through these sets. I think 4 out of the 5 Fluttermanes in Cut had Icy Wind on them, which is also really interesting. And one of the cooler looks from this metagame. One of them was Specs. The other 4 were sorry, three of them were booster speed. One was Specs Icy Wind, and one was normal Specs without Icy Wind. But yeah, I think that's one of the things that we've seen increase in popularity too. I think Scarf Landorus is really common, and so outspeeding that is really nice. Scarf Urshifu is common. Outspeeding that is really nice. And then Icy Wind being a form of speed control where you don't need a Tornadus on your team is something that, I mean, or at least from this tournament, it looks like it has just become the standard Fluttermane set at this point.
Yeah, I always love seeing Icy Wind on the move set because it does just make the booster energy guessing game kind of non-existent. I feel like booster special attack has kind of dropped off completely. We were seeing a lot more of that in past formats, but I guess it just doesn't do what Specs does. And if you're not going to be speed boosting, just do what Specs does. And then speed boosting, one of the things it does best is provide dynamic speed control on a Pokemon that's naturally immune to Fake Out. It doesn't have to run a covert cloak like Tornadus or something. So that's pretty cool. Other standout Pokemon to me are Justin Tang's Iron Bundle. I don't think we're covering some of the other tournaments that happened this weekend, but I think Michael Derbesti won 2 Limitless tournaments over this past weekend with Iron Bundle as well. It's kind of a Pokemon that I thought people weren't using as often, but sure enough, here it is. Yeah, it's on a team that isn't really using any other speed control except for the bundle. Notably, this will get the jump on those speed booster flutters, assuming that everything's 252 speed, timid or whatever. And the other team Pokemon that we're seeing a bit of on both Justin's team as well as some other teams is King Gambit. There are 3 King Gambits in the top 8 alone, one that just missed as well in 9th. Good deal of these guys.
And I think that, with Bundle, I'm surprised that Justin isn't running it with like Chiyu Flutter. Was the other one with Chiyu Flutter? Was that Joe? No, I guess he has a Flutter mate. Jacob Mortensen has a Flutter mate. But I thought, Bundle. I ran Bundle with Worlds. I thought it was good back then, but now especially, yes, it also beats the opposing Flutter mains that are also speed booster. It beats the Scarf Landeruses, but also it gets to freeze dry the Wellspring, the Ogerpon, and do 4x damage, 8x damage that way. 4x damage, 4x, yeah. And then it does it also gets to hit Heat Queen Arcanine really effectively, and so those being the 2 premier counters for Chiyu Flutter, I think makes it a natural pairing on those sort of teams. Even though we've seen, I don't seem to see it on those teams right now. I think that we just don't see many Tornadus in general, I guess. But like, I think that could also be a cool way to approach building out one of the more powerful combinations and responding to their counters.
You got to check out the team in 41st.
41st.
41st. I was looking at bundle teams, and I happened to see this not Mono Ice,
Hello!
but Mono Ice team.
Let's go!
Yeah,
And they did do it the proper gym leader way. Tornadus, that's not an ice type, but they're ice.
Yeah,
Gotta
they were my
respect
first
it.
round, and they
You played
had
them?
the ice type gym leader cosplay. Yeah,
Wait, they were actually cosplayed too? That's awesome.
yeah, they were.
Let's go. Yeah, shout out to that person. That's so fun. They did 4-3 with it, so not too bad for a gym leader team. Gym leader theme team. Man, if they could make it would be very unbalanced, but gym leader format would actually be so hype. Because you get like 1 free space with like a Terra into that type. I think that's kind of hype. Whatever.
Oh man, my Terra Ice Flutter main. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna Terra my Flutter main.
You
Okay.
get the boost on Icy Wind, and doesn't it get the base power boost too, Leonard? Right?
I mean, it would, but
Right?
wait.
Five.
Yeah, I think it should. Yeah,
It's
unless
priority
spread
or
boost
multi-hit,
don't.
right? I think
Yeah,
spread
I think it
boost-
should get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna go from 55 to 60, so it's not that much.
I mean, that's
That's
crazy
big.
though.
That's big.
Oh wait, while we're here, while we have Mr. Mechanics himself, there's a question that everybody's been like confused on, and let's dispel it completely. What does Grassy Glide do if you Terra grass?
It
Um,
doesn't get
get
it
55?
doesn't get the Terra base power boost because the way the terrestrialization base power like bump works is the move has to be below 60 base power before it exits the base power like multipliers, and grassy terrain is a base power multiplier, so it does the 55 times 1.3 whatever that value is, and that's
so will
above
it get
60.
it outside of terrain then?
It would get it outside of terrain.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that people were wondering though, is just like, yeah, it's not a priority move, and it's not boosted by anything, so it would be bumped up to 60. Okay.
Yeah, especially if it's not in grassy terrain. I don't think it would count then either, unless it's one of those that's a hard-coded exception. There's a bunch of them that are like that, but grassy terrain, or excuse me, grassy glide wasn't in that list prior to DLC, but they also changed several mechanics in DLC, and I don't know if anyone's explicitly checked that because we just knew that like it didn't work in grassy terrain, and that was what people mostly cared about.
Wait, there are some hard-coded move exceptions though. Can you name one? Like that's an interesting one.
Well,
Or-
not running anything interesting. It's like low kick.
Oh,
Arrow
sure.
ball is one, things like that.
Okay, so
I have to look.
some variable move ones. Okay, variable base power. Interesting. Still interesting to know. Yeah, those ones are some of the most fun, difficult ones to run at tournaments when you're like, all right, Tinglu Heavy Slam. I can't remember how heavy Gyarados is. Like, is this an 80 or a 40? Well, yeah. Okay, yeah. Other things to note from the Beast Coast tournament. I'm looking at the Pokemon in the top 8, and those are most of the things that stood out to me.
You know what the highest
In
win rate
terms
mon
of-
is?
Highest win rate Mon, what is it?
It is Bramblegast. It is
Bramble?
got
Did it even make it?
I think no, it did not cut. There's only one person using it, which again I am shocked by because it keeps doing well. It's always one of the highest win rate mons because people who use it really well. It's on one of the most powerful archetypes. You get to put it next to some of those powerful Pokemon. We've seen Meze do well with it a couple different times. and he's the only person to use it. The entire 90 odd people, right? Like, I just am consistently shocked this mon does not see more play.
I mean, I think bringing it back to King Gambit, that's also a very noteworthy one to me. It has 10 appearances and with a 61% win rate. That's pretty good.
Yeah, in my judgment, King Gambit is in a great spot right now. It's so easy for you to position King Gambit versus Landorus because Landorus, it reminds me a lot of 2015 dynamic where folks would run Life Orb Bisharp in order to get the knockout on Landorus. If you invested a little bit, then that wouldn't work. But with the extra stats of King Gambit and with the power of Terra Dark, you can't live that move. So it's and because of that offensive pressure that you gain, it means that it's sometimes easy pickings. It's just like, well, I mean, obviously, I have to Sucker Punch here. It's Kowtow. That does lead to the Sucker Punch Mind game war. I don't like that feature of King Gambit at all, but it feels very easy for it to get boosts because of how impactful Landorus is as a Pokemon in this metagame. I think Landorus is the best Pokemon in Regulation E right now. And King Gambit rising up as a way to check Landorus makes perfect sense to me.
Same thing with Bundle as well. Bundle's another Pokemon that we're seeing a bit more usage from. I don't remember what its win rate is. Actually, whoa, it's at 59.
High.
Okay.
I think Bundle is a Pokemon where, it looks like mostly good players brought it, right? Like the people who brought it did really well. I mean, even like Dylan, right? I know Dylan. I know that he knows what he's doing, right? And so, other than the person who brought Mono Ice, and even the person who did Mono Ice did really well. But like these teams,
they went positive. They didn't tank it.
yeah. I mean, like even like the other out there team is just like, yeah, they put Chiyu Bundle on the team. They went 3-4, but like, it's pretty easy to go 500 with Chiyu Bundle. It's just a crazy core when you hit your moves. So yeah, no, I think the Bundle. I mean, again, when you have players like Justin Tang using it, it kind of makes sense. Same with King Gambit. It's just one of those things that I think good players caught on to a little earlier, and we're going to see it kind of rise up a little bit. But yeah, I definitely think it's a real Pokemon in this metagame.
All right, before we move on from talking about this tournament, I want to find some of the biggest losers, because we always talk about some big winners. Who are some big losers? Guys that are seeing too much play. There seems to be a couple. Heatran at a 40. Heatran's deepest run was 11th, and that's a Pokemon that does see a lot of play. So 40%. Yeah, wow.
That's rough. Sinistra also, man. Sinistra at 42%.
Yeah, that's terrible percentage. That's surprising to me.
Wait, what's Sinistra's usage? I'm missing. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
41. Jeez.
And I guess, okay, like Heatran. One thing about these tournaments is like, you will get, or these stats is that you will get dragged down by people who do poorly, right? Like the person who went 07 with the Heatran team. That's tough, Like that's really going to drag your stats down. But yeah, even then, like there's only a couple people who went positive. One of them went 2-1.
There are a lot of 3-4s with Heatran, huh? Wow.
Yeah, I really underperformed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the main issue with Heatran, especially in this tournament specifically, was that a lot of the, I guess, top players ended up going for, I guess, more offensive archetypes that were able to, I guess, break through Heatran. I know from Justin directly that he was able to almost like break through Heatran, despite it having ability shield by just using Bundle. And it's like, what can Heatran do?
Yep. Looks like Urshifu Dark also had a pretty good performance. So that was one that slipped by. Yeah, Urshifu Dark, good. And then, is there any? I want to find one more loser. One more loser to make fun of.
I mean, there are some mons that had crazy high usage that had bad win rates.
We have to go pretty far down.
Blood Moon Ursa is kind of up there. Pelipper is kind of up there. Where those are Pokemon that I think we kind of expected to be a little better. Especially Blood Moon Ursa. I think everyone kind of expected to be good. But this is a Pokemon I think is going to take some time to figure out how to use, and it doesn't look like anyone figured it out quite yet. The one that made day 2 was on Psyspam, which is probably the most straightforward way of using it. But like, I do think that there's a very powerful Blood Moon team out there that is just waiting to be built.
Yeah, everything else is pretty low usage, and so these are going to be basically outliers. It's kind of hard to look at the data.
The Sinistcha is the one I think Sinistcha is one of the best Pokemon in the format. It's so versatile and it just entirely bombed. There was one person who made day 2 with it, which is crazy.
Gotta say, even though that it performed like that, it's still one of my favorite Pokemon they've added in this generation and in the DLC. Such a cool concept Pokemon. Loving it. We'll see if it makes a comeback at one of the next tournaments. I wouldn't count it out yet. With that though, is there anything else we want to mention about the Beast Coast tournament before we move on to talking about Showdown?
I guess Grant, I should ask you. Do you want to say anything else about the Beast Coast tournament?
I guess I could mention that in the round 4 or the top 4, I believe. That was kind of an interesting match. What I can say is that Gambit, or not Gambit, just the core of like Rilla and Ogerpon is extremely difficult to deal with. I believe my entire matchup into that, like just looking at my own team, like I can't do anything against that. Or at least I believe in general this metagame has shown that like, Ogerpon has nearly no counters. I believe my counter to that matchup was tearing my own Ogerpon to just avoid getting knocked out. And like I think that goes to show. Even I believe in all our games, like I constantly led like I believe Roy Moon Ogerpon. Because I mean like Ogerpon's just going to break through Landorus anyways. What is he going to do?
Yeah, Ogerpon, grass spam, and just like yeah, this Pokemon is just kind of messed up.
It feels like Zacian all over again, except there's like no counter.
Yeah, I do think that's one of the things that like Fluttermane's still going to be one of the top Pokemon, if not the top Pokemon, but having another viable fire type that is going to be threatening an Oko on it on pretty much all times. Sometimes a priority Oko if it's got enough multipliers on that Grassy Glide. Yeah, Ogerpon is definitely one of the craziest Pokemon they've added in the DLC. I don't know where it's going to fall usage-wise, if it's going to be higher than like Urshifu at its peak. I mean, Urshifu is probably going to be lower as a consequence of Ogerpon being a grass type and annoying it, but yeah, definitely a very strong Pokemon to come out of this DLC. I don't mind it because it's like still new, but maybe I'll definitely come to be annoyed by this thing as time goes on.
One of the things that's also funny about Ogerpon is just how many jank mechanics it has. So not only like, the 1.2 mask, that's not jank in my opinion, but its interaction with terrestrialization. They really don't want you to terrestrialize into another type with Ogerpon. So for example, if you send out Ditto into a transform Ogerpon, it won't work. You cannot transform into a terrestrialized Ogerpon. And similarly, if you transform into Ogerpon before it terrestrializes, and then you try to terrestrialize, it'll let you do that, and then it just won't do anything. Like you can click the option to terrestrialize, and then it just doesn't do anything.
The turn starts and nothing happens.
Yeah, nothing happens. Absolutely nothing.
Wait, can you still terrestrialize later in the game?
It was something else, but you can't terrestrialize with that.
You can't.
And so it's.
Go ahead.
It's pretty funny. There are ways of janking it if you employ some secret techniques that Pikachu doesn't want you to know about. If you use transform yourself with Ogerpon, then you can terrestrialize. The only thing it really doesn't like doing is playing the animation. But then when you send out Ogerpon with a hat it's not supposed to have, it doesn't really work. It like falls down to the ground. It's weird.
Wait, sorry. I want to see. It falls down to the ground.
Yeah, like it's like
I posted an image if you.
Yeah, it's at its feet. I don't know why it does it down there, but yeah, I've got a picture of it on my Twitter. I've got if you want to sift through 4 hours of footage, I've got it like towards the end of my
4 hours of footage
of like stuff where I dumped when I did some mechanics testing in DLC 1, but.
Oh, I found the tweet with the image, Adi here. I'll post it.
Oh, I think I found it. Ogerpon looks really weird without the Terra type. Yeah, okay. Okay, so what happens if I Terra my Ditto, and then switch it out and switch it back in and transform into an Ogerpon?
You can't.
That's what I was wondering.
It won't let you do it.
Abai asks, what if you're the correct Terra on Ditto? If you're Terra Fire and it's a Terra
It doesn't
Fire...
matter. Doesn't matter.
Dang.
Wait, so if you tear it and then swap out and then swap back in, it just won't transform?
Yeah, you won't transform. Or you won't transform into Ogrepon. You can transform into something else.
Mm-hmm.
So assumedly, like in singles, it would just not transform.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
the move
exactly.
transform would fail.
Yeah, it's
Try
really,
to
it's really, yeah, it's very annoying. If you're like playing in like singles, I mean, Ogrepon's super banned from OU, but like if you tried to use Ditto to counter it, like it just doesn't work.
Huh? Well, that's really interesting. I guess with that, we can move on from Beast Coast. And I do want to mention, this was the big grassroots tournament that happened. There were official tournaments happening starting yesterday on Sunday. There were you could host Premier Challenge, you could host mid-season showdowns, and so I know that there were a bunch of events that were held on Sunday. And I guess, did any of y'all go to one by any chance? Grant, I guess you didn't, but
I went to a non-official local. My local scene will have one actually the weekend after Peoria. So I've been attending those ones so that way they can get sanctioned tournaments, and so
that's awesome.
I just hang out. There's like 8 guys that show up. It's pretty good.
Did you guys used to host locals before for everything, like last year too?
We did last year. Yeah, but this was the last year was the first year we were able to do anything.
Okay, because my locals, we have a TO who passed the test and all that. He's been hosting unofficial grassroots, or official grassroots in that they don't award championship points, but are done through the Tom. He's been hosting them for a few months now, and still has not been allowed to host a Premier Challenge, and so it's really frustrating.
Do they do TCG stuff? Because our shop does both. Okay, yeah, that's. I mean,
they do Yu-Gi-Oh.
There's no rhyme or reason. I don't understand it.
It's very frustrating because the nearest locals to me are in Houston, which is a 3-hour drive away, and so not looking forward to doing that on a regular basis. But yeah, hopefully that gets sanctioned. If anyone from Play Pokemon is watching, please sanction Austin locals. I really appreciate it. Alex,
I'll be able to talk about locals. What's that?
I heard you won the Chicago Premier Challenge, right?
They're McFucking free.
We're back.
Yeah.
From Missouri.
All the context behind that.
We're so back.
We're so back. Okay. Hopefully we're actually back on the stream side. We can probably get through the rest of this without Audi crashing again, right?
I
Right?
hope so. I hope so. It's just my computer. It's not even my internet. I'm so pissed.
No crash, please.
My work computer works fine. Anyways, it's
If it goes down again, Audi, I'll start it up.
all right.
But anyway, we were mentioning before we left that I'll be attending or I'm planning on attending the 2 Seattle locals this coming weekend. So I'll be able to talk about the return to locals next time. That'll be fun. Looking forward to that. I've always been a fan of locals. I only got to attend like a couple last year, so I'm excited.
yeah. And so with that note, we could talk about Pokemon Showdown, everyone's favorite video game, and including
Game of the year.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't heard of it before. I was just doing all my testing on cart, and then I was watching my favorite TV show ever, Love Is Blind, and someone was like, "You can play Pokemon on your computer," and I was like, "Holy shit, this is a game changer for me." So so I've been addicted to Pokemon Showdown for the last like 3 days. Ever since I saw it.
3 days. Yeah.
Yep.
This thing's crazy. Have you seen Ranbats? You get a random Pokemon every time.
I know. Who made that?
Anyways, Yeah, so yeah, I heard that guy is world ranked. That's true. So Showdown just had two major changes in the past couple of days, and they're definitely game changers when it comes to using the platform to practice, as well as just using it for basically anything in the second case. The first case that we'll talk about right now is best of three. This part, I believe, Leonard, you had a direct hand in, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I had
Um,
a lot of effort in that.
into the development of this, but now there is available the option to challenge your friends to best of threes. I think that's been in the game with the command for like a week now or so.
Yeah, but
Um,
we've had it running about 2 weeks.
okay,
That
yeah,
you
so
can do a
about two
custom
weeks for
challenge.
that. But now, just recently in the past couple of days, the best of three open team sheet ladder for the current VGC format went live. And I mean, I'll be honest, Leonard, like I'm sure you've been told by a number of people, but everyone's talking about it. Everyone's loving it. It's
Yeah,
the best feature to come to the game in like years.
I
So,
think I think so too. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the way this changes the practice game. Like
mhm,
before, you might like have some value still in practicing on cart. I think this shifts it pretty significantly over to Showdown.
mhm,
Showdown already had some advantages of being faster to play games. Best of three is not going to make it any faster for you. I'll tell you that. You can
mhm,
probably do a best of three on Showdown as fast as you can do a one game on cart.
straight up.
But just the amount of extra pressure or extra practice you can get of playing with random folks in a best of three setting, I think is absolutely huge because that's a very difficult skill to acquire in Pokemon if you aren't attending a lot of online tournaments, and even then, that's scheduled. It's not something that you can do on your own time if you are busy with work or school. And so having the ladder available, I think, will really increase the level of play as we go along. It won't be folks who are not used to best of threes going into regionals. I think that if anyone worth their salt is going to be practicing on the best of three ladder.
Yeah, the ability to queue up a game and play against another random, if you're playing on an alt anonymous person in a best of three, just feels so valuable. Something that's always like intimidated me over the years about like just getting more best of threes against my friends is like, are they going to be able to like either I'm getting practice against the team that they're using and I don't want to just like counter my friends, or I'm getting practice against them using something that maybe they're not too familiar with. And ideally you're playing against somebody who is just like good enough at the game that they can know what they're doing. But I just love this like ability to on command just search up a game anonymously and play a best of three against somebody else who's using a team that they want to actually like play or practice with. I mean, and maybe they're just playing best of threes to practice too, but at the very least you're getting somebody else that is going to give you their all with the team that they found comfortable enough that they wanted to search up a best of three with, and I love that. It's just something that we've never had the ability to do. Very recently, Aaron Trailer was running those, for practice, like Larry tournament or whatever. That
Mhm.
I can't remember what it was called, the Larry Tour or something.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, where it was
But
very
yeah,
casual.
it was another way to get good best of three practice in. But this is just like the game changer. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And for anybody who's watching this, thankful for it, you can consider me to be one of those folks as well. Although I had quite a bit of involvement with the testing and debugging and some of the coding work. The chunk of the coding work was done by another Showdown developer named Mia, and bringing her in on the project made all the difference for this. And it's part of the reason, honestly, why it took so long is because the folks who are interested in implementing best of three were VGC players, and the overlap between Showdown developers and VGC players is very low. It's mostly just me and Karthik, and both of us are pretty good on the battle mechanics side. That's what I am most interested in doing coding work for Showdown. So I'll be interested in fixing a mechanic or telling you why it's hard to fix a mechanic. Um, but the chat side of the house is really up Mia's alley. A couple, probably a little, quite some time ago now, Mia had reached out to me asking about team locked best of three play, and she said, "Hey, do you want something for best of three matches in order to verify that the same teams were brought to the games, so you don't have to open all three games at once. So you can just do like a verification command to make sure, hey, this team matches that team. It'd be sort of like a hash. The team gets exported in some way that's impossible to reverse, but it would let you verify that the teams were the same. And I said, well, that's not really what we're looking for. Really, what we're looking for is to have automated best of three play for practice reasons. And she's like, oh, well, maybe I could take a look at that. And so she started work on it, gave it, I remember her first day that she tackled it, she spent 8 hours on it. 8 hours in one day working on things. And it took a lot longer than that to get up and running. But once it was in a stable state to be able to actually have multiple folks be on to be actually debugging and not just try to test stuff locally, it really started to take off. Best of three has a number of challenges that comes when implementing it. The easiest thing to do is herder 2 wins out of 3, you get the win. That part's no problem. The things you have to that are actually more challenging are figuring out how to handle, for example, things like timer. How do you account for example, disconnects? Normally our timers are kept completely distinct, but it would be good if you disconnected in game 1 and you lost, not to have to go through the whole process of losing again in game 2 where they completely time out. And keep in mind, this is VGC timer as well, where it's not as if it's just going to, straight run down to 0. You're going to probably have to go through a whole bunch of turns as they run out your time. We need to be able to handle things like timer. You need to be able to handle differences between game forfeits versus set forfeits. You need to be able to handle things like game transitions. You need, how do you go from game 1 to game 2? Is it all 3 open at once? If you agree to it, does that mean that, are you just waiting there indefinitely until you both agree to move along? You have to handle things like usage stats. You don't want to save all 3 games for usage stats because that's going to influence how the numbers will appear. You should be recording just one set, which means you're saving things differently. How are you going to handle things like tournaments? Right now, we assume that just the battle itself is sufficient enough for a room tour to progress. How do you handle things like ladder moving along? We actually had a bug when we first launched on ladder where playing out the set regularly would work just fine for rating, but we found that if you did a set forfeit, it actually counted the rating twice. So you actually got twice as much rating. That was fixed rather quickly. But you have to consider things like best of whatever is going to apply for more than just VGC. So how does it apply for formats where you could potentially tie? Say if somebody's doing something in random battles and they get stuck and they want to tie. I don't know. I don't think you can do that much in random battles. You wouldn't really do this in OU since it's all team locked. It's team locked there, but hypothetically it could happen where you might have a stall game that takes forever. How do you handle ties? You have to handle things about moderation issues to be able to control games in a particular set. What if something goes wrong? What if you need to have a whole set be forced to win rather than a single game? How do you handle things like when the server needs to lock down? When there's new battles to be, we need to slowly turn off the battles in order for the game to progress. If we just do it like how we do for normal games, and we just say you can't start new battles, you're going to end up with a game 1 that's ended, but now the best of 3 can't complete. So you have to account for all these things. And that's all, that's not even accounting for policy things that you have to think of, like how do you handle, how high are you supposed to be able to go for best of games? How many of those are we going to allow? Which formats are we going to allow the best of stuff for? Which ones are we going to support? And those are all things to consider. Replays that are a thing to consider. There's handling. There's a lot of stuff to keep in mind, and almost all of that is handled on the chat side of the house, so to speak. Where it's like I don't manage when I'm doing my coding work. I'm very rarely touching how the battle itself fundamentally functions. I'm working how this interacts with another move. or something like that. I'm not touching how the fundamental stuff works. And so that's where Mia was able to really assist both Karthik and I. We had done this last summer. We had really hammered out. We have a design document that we had of where we wanted to go with Best of Three. We had like these things delineated out. We sent the design document over to Mia, and she just ran with it. And there were some things that we wanted to do that she was like, "Yeah, actually, that's never going to work. You should not do it that way. You're never going to be able to jank the IDs to be what you want." I'm like, "Dang it, that would be really nice." But there's a lot of things to keep in mind, and so Mia was just absolutely instrumental. She set up, she used her own test server for being able to have folks come over and play test. I grinded stuff to try to make sure that things were working. We had to work on each component at a time. Some of these things have to be in place before you can really start testing some other things. And so it's there's some linear progression. We had to account for a whole lot of stuff. But I'm grateful that in the end it's working out and it's behaving pretty consistently. We did have some hiccups at the start when we launched with the ladder, but now I think we're pretty stable and it's been running okay. So I've been pretty pleased with the result and even more pleased with the positive feedback that I see from the community. I think easily over 95% of the messages I received, both publicly in response to my social media post, in private messages, and just on Showdown itself, just saying, "Hey, this is such an awesome feature. Thank you so much." I'm I feel the exact same way. This is good for my practice too. I feel the exact same way as everyone else. I'm excited. I wish Peoria was not this weekend so I could have time to just lab out best of 3 sets. As opposed to just being I kind of locked in with a comfort pick. All right now it's just well, do I want to try to grind some more to figure things out a week in advance? But I think it's just going to be such a revolutionary tool for testing. It's just so cool.
Yeah, this is it's just awesome to have the ability to get a best of 3 literally whenever. I don't know if you're able to access this and if it's annoying to figure it out, but how many best of 3s have already been done on the ladder?
I don't know the statistics on that. When I could technically check
at the end of the month.
We'll know at the end of the month. Usage statistics will be separate for the regular ladder versus the best of 3 ladder. So
that's gonna be funny to compare.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to compare. Another thing that's also I think pretty critical with best of 3 is understanding how the player base will use it. Because if it ends up in a state where I would be really interested if it ends up being in a state where one ladder really dominates over the other. I think people underestimate, and I mean severely underestimate, the amount of quote casual folks that play VGC on Pokemon Showdown. Not just folks that aren't hardcore VGC players, but folks that can't go to VGC events. Think maybe younger folks, we used to back in the day have all of these juniors and seniors at events, and now there's no juniors and seniors. But it's not as if the demand for liking Pokemon went away. So they're just on Showdown. They just want to play wherever the heck they want for fun. And so we have a lot of folks that are in that camp. I'll be curious to see if best of 3 ends up being more top heavy, where it's really the tryhard players are playing there, or if it's if a casual player is also willing to go over. I've seen from folks messaging me things about it where it's very common on low ladder after a game 1 loss for someone to just forfeit the set. They don't even try to play game 2. They just move on. I don't know if that means they don't understand how the system works. Maybe if there's something unintuitive about it, or if they're just nah, I'm not even going to try game 2. I'm just going to move on.
They're mad that they got cooked.
Yeah, yeah. If I lose 1, it's over. I can't win 2 in a row.
I coming back is impossible.
Exactly.
I've experienced it myself twice.
I've
only played yeah. When you're playing IRL, you feel a bit more committed to playing that game too. But with the quickness of Showdown, and you're just denying yourself that time to queue up another one, I guess. So they're just gonna move on with their life.
I've definitely played tests in tournament where I've lost where I've lost game one and thought, man, I just do not want to be here anymore. So I kind of get it.
And Showdown gives you that option. You
Yeah,
just
you
leave.
can just dip. Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye.
So long.
With regards to how popular the other ladders are, I think Nails was talking about this because he was saying, I want to get quick games in when I'm testing a team concept, and then once my team concept I know that's solid, then I want to play best of threes, and so I think that is still something the best of one ladder is still good for. Especially you want to just play as many games as possible, a variety of games as possible, a big variety of teams. Obviously, I think even then we prefer open team sheet, but that's still an option. Yeah, and then so I think that's like still a use. And then obviously, you mentioned younger players, but also there's players who are in TPC regions where they are playing closed team sheet best of ones, primarily people who are maybe trying to get a leg up for the online competitions. But I think in those situations, honestly, outside of situations where we've had, like just this past month, we had the Regulation E rules where we didn't have an official ladder on cart. I still feel like most of those players are still better off playing on cart because I really do think that we are going to or not the people who are trying to, like Nails, who are trying to get an idea of how if their team works, but like other people, I think that they're going to kind of focus on playing on cart just because I am suspect of how people are going to be playing in the best of one ladder.
And there's also still the time aspect. We talk about how Showdown is very fast, but sometimes I'm looking for literally just 5 minutes. I play just one game here or there now on mobile just to like get practice in, and so I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna play a best of one. And then I actually earlier today did that, and I accidentally queued up best of three, and I was like, well, I'm here now. But the idea was I've got 5 minutes. I'm gonna play one, and then I end up play three because I lost game two. But. Anyways, there's definitely still value in that, where it's just like I'm looking to get one quick game in, and so yeah, they definitely do have different values that hopefully doesn't divide the player base too much. I know that was a worry back in the past when open team sheets first started being a thing on Showdown. People were like, "Oh, everyone," I'm sure, asked you a billion times, let's split the ladder. Let's split the ladder, please."
Yeah. I think best of three gives us a significant enough difference to split. But I think one thing that should be clarified on what splitting the player base means is it's not really so much splitting the player base in terms of like us being able to support the ladder. There may be some concern with that, especially because as VGC, we often have two ladders running concurrently when we have the month overlap. And so you can well imagine, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if when we run 4 ladders simultaneously, one of them is going to die. And you're just not going to be able to get any games on there. But statistically, we are receiving about as many games or more games than OU. Ranbats is still ahead of us. But on average, VGC is pulling more numbers on Showdown than OU. So numbers-wise, there's not so much an issue there of splitting the player base. It's really more so the perspective and the perceived notion of what goes into behind like the original closed team sheet versus open team sheet debate. Where one ladder is legitimate and one ladder is for all these other people who don't care about the game, who don't actually care about how VGC is supposed to be played. And you'd be also surprised about how many people, like even to this day, still want to play closed team sheets. And that's just the way they like to play. I got comments on the best of three ladder saying, this would be great if it weren't for the open team sheet. And it's just like, and it just... I being a player who, I'm going to live VGC events. That's what I want to practice for. But as far as being a leader on Showdown, I don't think it's wise to alienate
for sure
well over 50% of our player base in this. And so that's why, again, I'm hopeful that the best of three ladder won't result in that, where we don't have a sort of like top heavy best of three and maybe there's a lot more people on the best of one ladder. I'm hopeful that it'll be mixed and that folks will recognize the value of both. Obviously, us as competitive players can easily recognize that difference, but it's a matter of how folks who play the game, but maybe not to the level of commitment that we do, how they see it and interpret it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how they shape up over time.
Yeah, I'm especially curious, come December when hopefully we have the DLC and we have the Reg F rule set, and we have like San Antonio regional September 15th. I don't think there's any regionals after that, but that lead up to San Antonio where I'm prepping for San Antonio, but other people are going to be prepping playing Reg F. How that's gonna turn out with 4 ladders, but hopefully there's going to be at least enough people on the best of 3 ladder that that I can keep prepping. And we've definitely been there before, right? Like I think that with Reg D, I think people who are going to was it Barcelona? People are going to Brazil probably had to experience the same thing. I can't imagine there was many players playing Regulation D at the tail end of this month or last month.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I mean, we have more real formats on Showdown than they did for the past month on in Cart. They had to practice like half Regulation D, whatever that was. That fake format.
I think you called it D.5.
Yeah, D.5. I mean, I
that.
saw Liberty Note. They always compile because the month just ended. They always compile the results of the ladder at the end of the month, and it's like, what format are you guys even playing? Like, you have OgreCon. This is whack. Like, so strange.
I didn't even think about that. I want to actually see the results. One thing that we didn't mention, we're talking about the ladders and how they're going to change is I think Limitless tours actually are probably going to drop down in popularity. I think that was a big appeal of them, was just getting best of 3 practice. And we saw some people, like Michael Derbesti, big Limitless warrior, did really well at Worlds. We saw a player like Rushel do really well at I think Milwaukee regionals last year after playing 57 Limitless top cuts or whatever. And so I think that that's something that's going to take a hit. Where I love the platform. It's just by far the best platform for Pokemon tournaments. But I think that like the number of people who play it on random Wednesday random Wednesday evening is going to decrease a lot.
That's true. That's definitely a big factor when you just have access to best of 3s. Yeah. So cool that at least we have options. I mean, the game is in a great spot right now with how many tools there are online to practice. Whether you want to get that in-game, yeah, exactly. You can get that in-game practice if that's what you're really looking for. Because there are still some benefits to that. Definitely, like important to have that real feel. I mean, Showdown gives you more information than you're supposed to have. Making sure you're not like overly reliant on that is good, and so playing in game has a lot of stuff like that that will help you out. Let's move on to talking about the other thing that Showdown added. Leonard, I don't actually know if you had anything to do with this one or not. You'll have to tell me. Did you or not? The server side teams.
I had a very small amount of involvement. Mia, we had basically finished the work on Best of 3 at some point, like a couple of weeks ago. We were, still ironing out bugs, but most of it was done, and we were just trying to stress test it in the VGC room with a bunch of room tours. And during the interim, Mia had actually independently worked on server-side teams a long time ago. And so she went back to it, and she's like, "Hey, you know what? We just landed this big feature. I'll land another one." And I'm over here like, "Mia, I want to do one thing at a time. We'll launch one thing and then we'll move on to another." And Mia's like, "Nah, I can do this." And you're like, "Okay." So I didn't have as
kind of like the goat.
Mia is very bored. That's what she is. So she has a lot of time on her hands. But she does very, very good work for Showdown. Her activity is like by far the best. She was very recently as well promoted to an admin on Showdown. Previously, she was running in the position of a global moderator, but she actually had a lot of admin level access, and so the role was formally given, and now she has the access to be able to like deploy changes on her own. She in the past had to deploy her changes through someone, and so it'd be like, "This thing isn't working." It's just like, "Okay, Mia, what command do I type in so you can get the debug information you need?" And so we're just being surrogates. Yeah, exactly, which is good. And so I didn't have a ton of involvement with that. I had a little bit of work on how some of the team builder integration worked. I pointed out some bugs, but not a terrible amount. Originally, fun fact, so having the ability to share teams across devices on one account is of course very valuable. But another motivating factor for wanting it was actually because of moderation issues. I don't know if I think it's okay to talk about it. Folks were using PokePaste as means of sending offensive messages to others because we don't do any filtering on PokePaste messages. We just let them right on through. And so they were being used for we'll just say malicious purposes. I know as malicious as a block of text can be. And you can do that with lots of other websites too. But having the ability, hypothetically, to have an in-house PokePaste just completely circumvents that. I don't really buy that for that reason. I'm also a much bigger fan of it for the ability to share across devices. And so I think there's some more work that needs to be done on it, in my judgment, although I do think it's functional right now. I think there are some improvements that could be made. Like, for example, when you're looking at somebody else's team, if you're sharing a team, I think being able to import it straight into the team builder would be a very nice feature to have. We didn't have that on launch. But you can do things like you can upload teams to share with yourself. You can share team links with other people. And so there is some utility in that. Like I say, I did not have as much involvement with that. And Mia had done the bulk of the coding work on that in the past and basically just revisited it, updated it to current standards, and then she was able to go live with it. So the fact that we were able to deploy two such major feature requests, one after another, happened to be sort of like a coincidence. But it really goes to show you just how much one developer on Showdown, one active developer who's working on features can make a difference for. Previously, Mia did a lot of back-end administrative work. So she did a lot of stuff to overhaul how moderation works, which is very useful for a limited number of people. And seeing her expand her reach to features that more people can use really just shows you how valuable Mia is to the Showdown development team.
And so, I guess on that note, because I heard exactly one negative comment about the best of three ladder, which was from a local who was like, yeah, it's about time. Like, what took so long? So for anyone who wants to help out with Showdown, how does people go about doing that if they want to learn how to help out and maybe solve their own problems?
Depends on where you're coming from. So tackling something like best of three would have been an impossible project for a newcomer. Typically, what I recommend is focusing on a small chat bug or a small mechanics issue. Like, for example, maybe you find a link isn't working. You need to have basic skills. For example, you need to know how to do standard contribution work in GitHub. You need to know how to be able to set up your own server. Not a server that you host so other people can access, but one that you can run on your local machine. So that way you can test your changes. That's a pretty important part. Sometimes we have people who submit pull requests without having tested their changes, and it's very obvious. So you need to be able to test your changes to be able to see if they work. And then as you become more accustomed to that, you can kind of see, we have on Showdown not on Showdown, but on Smogon, we have both a bug reports thread and a suggestions thread. And most of those are open for taking. You can just tackle one. Some bugs are going to be easier than others. Usually, if somebody comes in to Showdown wanting to fix a specific bug, unless they have a lot of programming experience in advance and can pick up things by reading docs, they may have some trouble easing into it. Showdown is a big code base, and there's lots of different pieces of it. I definitely don't know lots of pieces of it. Like I say, my focus is in mechanics side. And even then, there's some things I'm just like, I don't know how that works. I mean, the event runs and it does something and it's magic. I don't know. But that's what I'd recommend. You can, we have a development room on Showdown. If you want, you can join it. It's a secret room. You cannot see it in the room list. You have to type /join dev. So if you type /join dev, you can see the development room. Don't casual chat in there or we'll ban you. But we also have a dev Discord as well that you could join to keep an eye on activity, or you could ask questions like that. The Discord there is geared towards folks who are aiming to develop for Showdown. Other folks have other interests, like for example, maybe they want to run a side server that's all well and good, but we're not there to help with that. That's your own project. But if you're interested in contributing to the main project, then we're willing to help you. I can help you get set up with that kind of thing. That's what um, that's what anyone has to do. My initial start with Showdown was actually creating a video called "Top 10 Glitches on Pokemon Showdown," and Jarrell PM'd me saying, "Hey," and so that's how I got involved. So yeah, you just have to sometimes put your name out there, and maybe you'll be able to contribute.
And what is the
That's a great way to get it.
what is the next big project that that we're gonna see for VGC players? Anything else, anything in the tank you can share?
We I think it's all right to share this. Another requested popular feature for a long time has been offline messages. To be able to send a message to a player and then they see it when they come back online.
Ooh.
That's been something
Very
that's because that's pretty standard on other platforms. Being able to do that rather than them having to be online. I don't know how when you implement it, if it'll be very widely rolled out. They may restrict it because
this
they don't.
feature feels a lot less valuable to me now because I can just be playing on the Open Team Sheet Best of 3 ladder instead of messaging my opponent. You wouldn't have won that if it was Open Team Sheet Best of 3 and then
exactly.
they logged off and they can't see my rage message.
Exactly.
I need them to be able to log back in
perfect.
and see my rage message.
Yeah, that's our next feature we're gonna work on. So you can't close the Showdown tab, so you have to see my
You
messages.
can't close the Showdown now.
Yeah, you're stuck.
Close until you clear the messages.
That's a great feature.
By the way, if you're in chat and you have questions for Leonard or Grant, but in this case on the topic at hand, we're talking about all the new mechanics in Showdown. If you have any questions, now's a great time to post them, and we'll try to get to them. I do have one more question about the saves. I just pulled it up for the first time. I had not gone to my team builder today, but I saw that there's a checkbox for private. What does that mean?
That means if you do not check that, that means anybody could see it. So if I wanted to, you can search for any team publicly. So I would recommend checking that if you are planning on uploading your teams and doing anything serious with them while you're saving them between devices. Otherwise, I could look them up and steal it for Peoria.
So I can search up. Can I search up public teams?
Yeah, you can. I think it's /teams, and then I think you can. I think there's a search function somewhere in there. I don't actually know. I haven't used it that much. I know it's a thing because there's a huge debate on whether or not it should be private by default.
Oh my god!
And I was an advocate for it to be private by default, so that way people didn't just accidentally upload their regional teams.
Time to see. Time to see what the okay. There's three public VGC Regulation E best of 3 teams right now, and they're apparently this is super cool. So this is a way to
That's heat.
Wait,
Oh,
this is kind of cool.
Positivity.
right. So you can if I want to share my team, right? If I'm like I just cut this regional, I want to post a team report out there. I can do it this way too, which is pretty cool.
You absolutely could.
Whoa, this is funny. What the heck? This is blowing my mind. I didn't realize that they could be public.
What the heck?
wait, how do I-
3,000?
Yeah. And like I said,
right now, Leonard, how do I get to this? Is it type /team
I believe it's /teams.
or teams with an S? Okay.
Yeah, with an S. Yeah.
Okay, so this opens a new tab. Okay. Search, browse public teams. What the heck? This is such a weird.
Yeah. And remember, like I said, don't forget. Like I say, this was originally intended as, or one of its main functions was to be a PokePaste competitor or a replacement, and so that's why, like, it by default has these sorts of features. So take that for what you will. But like I say, I recommend if you were to use this feature, make sure you leave it private, so that way only you are going to be able to see those teams as you're switching between devices. I wouldn't like that. Another thing as well with this to keep in mind is that you must manually upload your teams. I don't think we can actually handle if we try to sync everybody's teams up to the server, because although syncing to the cloud is the cool and hip thing to do, turns out storage space costs money. So I don't even know. I think we have a limit on how many you can upload. I'm not 100% sure on that. You definitely have to be auto-confirmed to use it. So your account must be at least 7 days old, and you have to have won a rated battle, which is pretty standard for chatting in any chat room before you can use the feature. so you can just create a dummy account and just junk up the server with stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Someone asked in chat, do the uploads check for legality? I'm going to guess no, given
No.
there's a 3-mon team on my screen.
They do not.
Wait,
I
are
think
people
they just
posting
check,
teams as we're like looking at this?
yeah, I think they check to make sure it's like Pokemon, like that it looks like a team at all, but it doesn't check for legality in that format.
Mm-hmm.
Partially because that can change if there's like validator fixes.
Right.
Fair, yeah.
I guess the only thing that I wish I could do, I guess I can do that in the team name, is if I'm posting a team, I want to be able to link to my video team report of the team. But I guess I can do that in the title. But yeah, otherwise
I'm curious
doing
if
that-
that'll actually link it. I don't know if that would link it or if it would just like strip it out. If it wouldn't, like you'd have to copy and paste it. I don't know. I haven't tested it. Like I say, I wasn't involved very heavily with the implementation of server-side teams.
Yeah. Well, this is super. I did not realize that you could search public teams, but this is a game changer. I don't know if the public team feature is going to be very commonly used, and I certainly don't want to have to scroll through teams to see them when I think a lot of these teams are like. Is there a way to search? I forgot. There totally is, right?
I don't know. I don't even have Showdown open right now. So
Hold up.
and I don't have the stream open either, so I have absolutely no idea. Like I said, I
it's-
knew the command to get in, and I know how to like upload a team, and I've seen it synchronize, but that's all I've seen.
You can search with you can search for Pokemon. You can search for abilities and moves. So I can search for my favorite. I don't know, Matcha Gotcha team, for example.
Does this save to the account? I'm sorry, I actually don't know
Yes,
about that.
it's
aspect.
tied to the account. So if you were online on Showdown on Lexicon and you saved an account and then you logged in on your phone on Lexicon, then it would automatically sync that team that you had to your team builder on your mobile device.
Would I log in or something?
Yes, but if you were on another name, then it would not synchronize. Though I believe it still remains in the team builder.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think once you sync, then it's good. But don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I was just curious how this works with like alts and stuff. Yeah, like if
Yeah.
it has to be tied to the name.
Yeah, it's tied to the name.
Yeah.
See, this way I
Okay.
I can actually share teams with people by creating a new alt, uploading a team on that alt, and then giving them the alt. That's how you share teams now.
I
Very
wouldn't do that.
Sounds like a great way to
It
go.
sounds like a lot of work.
All right, we gotta make sure that we keep things moving. We still have to talk about Peoria a bit and then wrap it up with calc.
I
So
forgot
let's
Peoria
move
was
things
happening.
on. Right?
All right, let's
I
talk
forgot
about
to change this.
the regional that is coming up this upcoming weekend. The first Regulation E regional. We've got Peoria. So Leonard, I assume you said you're going. Grant, are you going to Peoria?
I'm not.
You're not. Okay. Not booking a last minute flight with your prize money.
No,
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
even though-
I do not want to go to Dead End, Illinois.
That's fair.
It's not. I was there at the TCG only regional last year. It's not much to speak of.
You know, I was thinking about going to this one considering it's so close to me in Chicago, but I think I'll just have to sit it out, Adi, unfortunately.
Well, yeah. You know, if I go to Peoria, we can go to Seattle for the doubleheader, right?
The doubleheader Premier Challenge, yeah. I thought I'd take my chances here.
Winning two Premier Challenges, just getting top 32 at a regional.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you can. I think there's a Saturday PC that is happening while the event is going on.
Are they doing that again in Peoria? They did
I
that at-
think so. I cannot for the life of me fathom why they would do it that way.
They did this at Pittsburgh. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. But
Yeah, so Pittsburgh had one that
Why?
started at like 1. Like if you went 03 drop, you could get into it.
I don't know.
Just the weirdest. Yeah, the weirdest thing.
So Leonard, because you're the only person who's actually like competing, do you know how many people are currently registered for Peoria?
Enough for day 2. I don't know the exact number. I'd imagine it's in the 300s. I can pull up Arcanine.
300s. I think they have 600 total spots for Masters. But 300 is
Or
a
not.
small
yeah.
regional.
We had enough
but-
for day 2. Oh, I am completely wrong. It's 514 across all divisions.
That
Okay,
is
nice.
pretty good. That is akin to what San Diego regionals last year, something like that. So that is pretty yeah, about 450 people, 500 people is still going to be a very good size. It's crazy that we're getting that in Peoria of all places, which is like we said the very beginning of the show, about 3 hours away from St. Louis, 3 hours away from Chicago. It is not easy to get to.
It's easy to get to for me. And for me, I can actually drive there. I could drive there same day if I really wanted to, but I'm gonna stay in a hotel. But like, it's great for me. I don't mind at all.
But on that note, if you still want to go, the signups are still open. It is not capped yet, so it is something that you can still do. And so I guess what do we talk about with regionals? It's been a while since we had a regional. That's not true. We had Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you got to preview a regional. I mean, I have all the things that we're supposed to cover in there. The difficulty we have like as a 3 out of 5. Consider bumping it down to a 2.5 to match the amount of time it takes to drive there from Chicago or St. Louis. But yeah, 3 seems right for. I mean, it's still going to have a lot of players, and so there's going to be that aspect. It's also the first tournament of Regulation E, so obviously we had the Beast Coast grassroots, and there's also like Premier Challenges and other things to look at for sources of metagame inspiration, but this is the first real one. I mean, this is what people have been saving the good stuff for, so there's going to be some cool outbreaks that we're probably going to see here as the metagame is kind of laid out at the first official one. I mean, I'm excited for that aspect as somebody that's spectating it, and it is a fun reason to go to a tournament. Is it being the first of a format. It's always hype.
Wait, Alex, are we doing a watch along stream?
Watch along stream?
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to do that while I'm at my locals.
Oh, right, you're at locals. Yeah, okay. I might do a rewatch stream at some point because I do want to see what's happening, but I'm not so invested in actually watching the tournament. So look out for that. Maybe Saturday night I'll rewatch the tournament and see the stream rounds. But yeah, we got history of Peoria, right? So we got Peoria I think is replacing Collinsville Regional, which is a couple hours away near St. Louis, and so Collinsville was also one of the regional locations that people generally didn't like because St. Louis is reasonably easy to get to, but then Collinsville is not easy to get to. It's like outside of St. Louis, and so that was I've actually never been to Collinsville despite living in the Midwest for a long time, and Collinsville was around for a while, right? It was 2015 Collinsville, I think, right? Or St. Louis?
We've definitely had St. Louis events down there, but before Collinsville, it was St. Charles, Missouri. I think they had St. Charles in 2015. I think it's 2016 when they switched to Collinsville.
My story is I started playing in 2015 online, and I wanted to go to an event really badly. But I lived in Minnesota, and the closest event was Madison, which was always during finals for college. And so I never got to go to a regional. But 2015, I remember I was on Nugget Bridge forums, and I was saying, "Hey, is anyone driving from Minnesota to I thought it was Collinsville, somewhere in Missouri. I guess it was Missouri regionals. Is anyone driving out of Missouri?" And Bravarius was like, "Yo, if you can get to Madison, Wisconsin, I'll drive you down." And I was like, "All right, I'll find my way to Madison. It's not too bad. I can take a bus." Madison, Milwaukee, I don't remember where he lived, somewhere in Wisconsin. I was like, "Yeah, I could probably do that." And I told my mom that I was going to take a bus to Wisconsin to drive with a person I met online down to a Pokemon tournament in Missouri, and she was like, "You are not doing that, especially not in the middle of the winter. You're not doing that." So I missed out on my first regional experience until 2017. And for what it's worth, Zach Bravarius did get second place at that tournament, and I am friends with him now, so it would have been fine. But yeah, I missed out on my first regional experience. That would have been what is now Peoria regionals. So that's my bit of history. We could talk about the actual history of these tournaments.
Yeah. So again, we kind of pulled these up mostly to be looking at like who are the defending champs, as well as things like what are like players to be looking out for that are going to be attending this one. And so because of course we got to pick some smart monies, all 4 of us after we go through this. Andrew Ding won this the last time it was held in Collinsville. I don't think there was a direct replacement last year. I mean, so this was in 2020, 2021 we didn't compete. 2022,
there was Peoria.
There was Peoria during the time that VGC was not being played, and so it was a TCG only. And so yeah, this is basically the most recent Collinsville. Technically, you could say Andrew Ding is the defending champ. Will Andrew Ding even be going? I actually don't know. Pretty sure that Wolf is not attending. Wolf, I
He's
think,
not.
tweeted earlier today that he's not playing for like the rest of the year, or something.
Mhm.
And so yeah, Yuri maybe also not attending this one. I don't know. I mean,
You have to play Yuri again. Oh my
everyone's
gosh.
complaining about getting to Peoria. I don't know how an Italian is going to get to Peoria. So maybe not that one.
He's flying to
Alex
Seattle. You
Aranda
can
can
drive
be
him, right?
attending. I can see Alex Aranda attending. Alberto probably not. Bingji, I don't know.
Alberto might attend. Alberto attends like every event, right?
Yeah, but Peoria, I feel like he would probably be like, "This is not worth it."
Yeah, Bingji's
He doesn't
not in the
attend
country
literally
anymore.
all.
He's never in the country
Um,
technically, but he's not in North America anymore.
mhm,
Lukamir's been playing again. I'm not sure if he's gonna go or not.
mhm.
Um,
Burns, I do know is going. Ashton, no idea. Gary, yeah, a
uh,
lot of good.
top 16, a lot of players, and including the one and only A Drive cut this regional with Colossal before it had its GMAX. So this was and I remember Gary cut with Trappage. That was crazy. It's just like, yeah, I felt like using Flygon, but Flygon wasn't good. But Trappage was.
God, there's actually some hype stuff in here, huh?
It was kind of crazy. And of course, this is the regional that Wolf released a video saying he should have won the regional, and because they changed the way the timer worked in the on cart, where they changed the amount of time that the games lasted for from 15 minutes to 20 minutes, and he was trying to timer stall Andrew's Milotic, and it did not work because of course there was more time than he expected, and so, but yeah, that was this event. Really interesting event, of course. This was also the event, which is funny that because it was February 29th, the next day, the midseason showdown was in the new format with Incineroar.
Yes.
So a weird event for a lot of different reasons. But that's the last Collinsville. Andrew Ding, defending champion. Before that, we had 2019, which was, I think, coming off another weird event. It was coming off the heels of one of the internets, right? So a lot of people didn't attend.
Yeah.
Alex, I guess you got second, so you could tell us about this event.
I honestly I didn't remember that. So. Yeah, I just remember. I don't remember. I don't actually remember too much about it. I remember it being like decent size. I think it was unofficially streamed because I do remember John Hu and Jake Muller getting on the commentary, and so there was that aspect of it. Other than that, this is 2019, and so the further we go back, the less important it will be to talk about the metagame, because I'm sure like 80% of the people watching are like, "What's a Zygarde?" And so
I will say,
Bro,
yeah.
his team is heat. I've heard
The
him talk
Zygarde
about
team?
it, and damn, yeah.
Oh, this was like, I mean, the Zygarde team in general was one of my favorite teams. And
I hated
I could
that
talk
team.
about it for a while, but
So bad. So bad.
it's a pretty easy team to beat. That's all I'll say. It did not slow me down in top four when I played it. And so so yeah. Other than that, definitely some more names. We see Alex Arand again. I don't know about Alan Martinez or Jake Major attending this one. Whitney Johnson, maybe. Sableye. I do know Nails is going, and Will Marks probably not. So yeah, let's move on to the next one for some. We're going
the other
further
funny
back in
story
time.
about this one was I was supposed to go. I registered for this one, but I was in Canada at the time, and I forgot my passport at my house, and so I got to the border, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going back. I did not go to the
Oh
event.
my god!
So that's
so
the second
annoying.
Collinsville regional that I missed out on.
Oh my god!
Catch a break,
that would
can
be
you, Adi?
awful.
No, I will never go to an Illinois regional, apparently. And going back to 2018, we see a couple of familiar faces. We see Leonard. You got top 4 at this one.
Yep.
So anything crazy happened? I was not paying too much attention to what happened this regional. So
I bodied Nails on stream.
think
It
I
wasn't
remember
close. I can't think of anything else that was super interesting. It was very important for me. That was my best regional finish, still to this day. And I really enjoyed my team. This was pre-Incineroar. This was right before Incineroar
Right
got
before that
Intimidate.
guy came out. Wait, no, he's
Yeah.
right there. Hold on, never mind. What are you talking about?
And I did not have Intimidate.
Luke,
No Intimidate there.
he was running like Snatch and Cineroar too. It was some wild set.
Bring back Smash. That was such a based move. Smash was so cool. Leonard's gonna tell me they removed Snatch because of like spaghetti code reasons.
I don't remember why they removed Snatch. I know why they removed Pursuit, but I don't know about Snatch.
Wait, why did they
They-
remove
they-
Pursuit? Is
I
it,
don't think they could handle how it worked with Eject Pack.
eject pack. Oh,
Yeah, I don't think they could have handled it.
they could handle it with eject button though.
No, because Pursuit and Eject Pack, you can activate it with like Intimidate. And so it leads jank stuff, especially with like Dynamax. Like, imagine you go for Dynamaxed Pursuit and you switch an Intimidate versus an Eject Pack. Like, what's supposed to happen there? Like do you
Oh,
Dynamax,
because it
but then
happens
you're
before
not.
the Dynamax.
Yeah,
oh, shit.
then you're not using Max Darkness and not that. It wouldn't be that much of a problem nowadays, but that was my understanding for why they killed Pursuit. But Snatch, I don't know, maybe they just didn't like it. They hated Weedle Needle, that's why.
Snatch is such a cool move. It's such
It
a
is a
cool
cool move.
move, man. Same with a lot of cool ones like Spotlight and stuff. Anyway,
But shout out to
So,
Alvin,
yeah.
who won this event with Control
Yeah.
Lax, one of the coolest archetypes and one of the coolest names they never caught on, because they always did Cineroar and then it stopped being a thing. But yeah, this was a super cool team. And then going back to, and also, by the way, more familiar names. Alex also cut this one. Nails also not this Alex. The Alex Arand also cut this one. Nails also cut this one. I think Ashton had cut one of these other ones as well. So a lot of familiar Midwestern players who have repeatedly top cut these events, and of course 2017, more familiar faces.
yeah. So Burns again going to be attending this one, and Nails. Yeah. John Who not going to be attending this one. John is in Japan, so
Yep.
Noak. I think Noak might be playing.
I don't remember if he is or not. I should know.
Noak
I talked with
said
him a lot.
something recently like was loving using Blood Moon, so maybe
Yeah.
Noak's playing again. I remember seeing that. Here's Alberto again. And yeah, I don't think John Mark's been playing much. Conan probably not going to see that guy.
Ashton's probably playing on this event. He cut this one as well. And then
Yeah, we saw Ashton earlier too. I don't know if Ashton's going or not. I could see it. Carson is going down there at 16th. Dane, I think Dane's in the chat. Dane seems like he's going. Yeah, he did say in the chat there.
So are we expecting Nails to cut Peoria? Probably. Like, I mean, or okay.
Well, hold on. Hey, we're about to get there. This is the last one before we start doing our smart monies. So,
Dane said he's going. So if you want a smart money pick, maybe that's the pick.
all right, yeah. So with that, why don't we go ahead and move into it? I forgot to double check before, but Grant, you know about smart money?
I do.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah. So then, I think actually we have you first in the lineup. So out of all the players that you know are attending, I would not bet on somebody that you don't know is attending. But if you know somebody's attending and you want to smart money them, let us know. Who are you picking?
I'm going to pick Alex Arand. I think, at least I've been talking to him in the past few weeks. I think his, at least, mindset towards the game is shifting a little bit. And I think he has what it takes to, I guess, break past that top four and get into finals and potentially win it all.
All right.
This is his tournament, right?
Right.
Like he always does well at this regional specifically, for some reason. He's also won other regionals too, but like every single year, every single Illinois regional, he always does well.
The hometown difference.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Leonard. Leonard, who you taking?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say Alex. I'd say statistically that's
Well, you
that's a
can.
pick.
Hey,
I guess
No,
I
There's
guess
no duplicates and no picking yourself. That's lame.
Yeah, see, I didn't think so, and I also wouldn't pick myself to win a regional either. I hate first format regionals. I didn't go to Worlds precisely because not only is it expensive, but first format, no way. I hate it. I gotta go to Peoria. So if Justin Burns is going, then Justin Burns is a pretty solid pick. It kind of depends on where he ends up at in team building. But usually when he gets something right, he gets it right. And so I'll be excited to see if he manages to advance the Regulation E metagame a little bit further than where it is right now currently. And so if he can find that, I think he'll do well.
For what
All
it's
right.
worth, Justin was going to be my smart money pick. He missed Pittsburgh regionals because of a flight issue, because his flight got delayed, and so I know he is especially motivated to do well. And a motivated Justin is usually a good Justin, so I'm excited to see how he does too.
I would not pick Justin because that is cringe, and I will not go into why. He's just cringe.
Cringe
So
person.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick the player that I was thinking of. I'm forgetting it because I didn't come up with an answer ahead of time. There it is. I do know they're attending, and so I'm gonna pick Carson. Carson has been grinding pretty hard just like all year long, and I think when Carson's a very good offense player. When new formats come out, usually offense has a pretty good shot at just steamrolling teams that are trying to play slower. And so I'm going to go ahead and go with Carson.
All right. Last but not least, my top pick got taken unsurprisingly, so I had to go with a backup, and my backup is someone who goes to basically every event and is always a contender to win. I'm picking Joe UX9. I think this is I think he's been grinding this format. He's coming off a top cut at the Beast Coast tour. I know he's been doing really well in some of these Limitless tours. He's been building out a couple different concepts, and I know he's been playing so many games. And I think that's really what it comes down to. Early format is just like if you have a significant experience advantage, unless someone's coming out with a crack team you're not expecting at all. If you've played enough games and you're a good enough player, I think you can do really well. So I'm picking my boy Joe to win this event.
All right. Joseph Ugarte.
Yeah, I have a fun story about Joe. He beat me so badly at a regional that I decided to pay for coaching from him.
That's the way to do it. Like honestly, you're like, this guy, he might get it.
Yeah.
He might know what he's doing. I respect it. I mean, honestly, witnessing it firsthand is the best way to understand it.
Yes.
There are a few people who I've lost you so badly and just been like, wow, you are just so much better than me. I think James Beck is the one that stands out to me. In 2019, he just beat me so badly. I was like, oh my god, you were just a step ahead of me every single turn. That is insane. So yeah, no, Joe's.
I mean, at least going to Beast Coast, it's like I had the option between James and Joe, and I knew that I did not want Joe.
Well, I mean, Joe's gotten a couple seconds this year. Has he not? Did we get like 2, or did he only get 1?
Second?
He won
Can't
one.
remember.
I don't know if he got 2 seconds or 1.
Last year?
I know that. No, not in this current calendar year, 2020.
He got second at Charlotte. He got second at Fort Wayne, and then he won Portland.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There might have been 2. Then
It's
yeah.
ridiculous, dude.
Yeah. They were running like the same team though, yeah, but yeah. So I don't know if they built that together or not. There was like so few differences that they had to have. One of them's usually in the chat here. I guess they hate us now, James and Joe. You got to say their names, then that usually summons them. But I don't. We've said them enough times that they don't seem to be popping out of the floorboards. Let's go ahead and move on to the last thing though. I think that's pretty much it for Peoria. We'll be here next weekend. Or not next week, next Monday, to talk about the results of it.
And like I said, I am planning on streaming a rewatch of at least day 2, hopefully day 1. Actually, probably day 1, less likely day 2, because I'll probably just be watching day 2 live. Especially when Justin is en route to winning the tournament. I will have to watch his top cut run live. But,
Don't you mean Joe?
Sorry. Well, I don't have to watch Joe's top cut run live. I've seen enough of those.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the last part.
All right, the
calc is right.
Right. So this is a segment where if you are new to the show, we will each have a damage calc in mind. We will say it out loud, and then we'll each guess a number for how much damage that attack will do. And if it is in the damage range, then we will have gotten it right, and if not, then we will have gotten it wrong. And so after everyone guesses, we will pull it up on screen live to show everyone exactly how much damage it does. And so, Grant, do you have a calc ready?
I do not. I would love to see an example from one of you, though.
All right, we'll come back to you. Leonard, I know you have something special in mind. Do you want to go first?
No, I want to react. So I don't know if you want to spoil it or not, but I'm going to try to do the damage calculation by hand with pen and paper.
Let's go.
See if I can do it. Now I will cheat. I will actually use a calculator for the actual multiplication of things, but I'm not going to use the damage calculator. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't calculate 6-figure numbers in my head.
Okay. So Alex, you want to go first or should I?
I had one earlier. I know, Rajan. I'm so excited for it. It's so. Rajan just said that's so based. Yeah, this is gonna be so funny. I'll do one. I wanted to do something bullet seed related. We were talking about bullet seed ogre pawn with loaded dice. Wait, no, I was saying how it's so cap because it's like it just has power whip. That's the same power or whatever. Oh my god. Hold on. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do this one. Let's calculate how much max special attack Empoleon is doing with Water Pledge combined with Grass Pledge to Ogre Pawn Water. So just Ogre Pawn Water. It counts. It's a grass type move.
I don't.
It's
Well, it depends on what order you're using it in.
Meowscarada is the other one. So it's not the order, Leonard, right? For pledges?
Are you arguing with Leonard about mechanics?
Won't it? The Meowscarada will go, and then the Empoleon will go. So either it would be Empoleon attacking with Water Pledge, so it would be immune to Water Absorb.
You know,
Or
it's funny that Leonard is saying this because I saw this in a Showdown replay, and it hit. It took damage. So.
Okay, well maybe
Water Ogre Pawn.
It
was not Terra Water because it took a lot of damage.
It might work that way. That could be right. I pledge mechanics I'm not that good at, but I would suspect that it would either bring Meowscarada attacking, or the Water Pledge would get absorbed by Water Absorb. But I may be mistaken on that. Like I say, my pledge mechanics aren't up to par.
Yeah, no, there was no wheezing on the field here or anything to disable the ability. It wasn't Parad.
We'll just assume
I found it on Bulbapedia. Two allies are attacking. The first ally will not move. The second ally will use a combined attack with a base power of 150. And if Water and Grass Pledge are used in the same turn, the ally using second will use Grass Pledge. So it depends on what combination of attacks are being used. It's always the same type.
Yeah, it's always the super effective type, right? Like not against the Pokemon target, but the type that would win the matchup between the starter types.
So it is Empoleon using a Grass type base 150 power move into a.
But it gets stab on it. It does get stab on it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry, I should have told you.
I knew. That yeah, it gets stabbed. I did know that.
I should have told people.
What are we using this into again? Oh, Ogre Pawn Water.
Just a Water Ogre Pawn.
All right. What are the EV splits?
So the Ogre Pawn is no bulk, and the Empoleon's max special attack modest. It doesn't have any competitive boosts or anything. It's no boosting item. It's just I don't know, Assault Vest or something using Water Pledge, with Grass Pledge from a Meowscarada. And so it's the easiest way to think of it is it's a whatever base power pledge moves are. I'm not going to tell you that combined.
It's on screen right now. I looked it up on Bulbapedia.
Yeah. Well, and then
you can't cheat that
it's
way.
a grass type move, but it's neutral. It's neutral, but Empoleon gets stabbed.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. So it's a grass type Empoleon using a base 150 power Leaf Storm.
Sure. Yeah. Let's go with that.
All right. Is Leonard doing this by hand?
Yeah, by hand right now. So it'll take me a little bit longer.
I did pick a really stupid one.
Yeah, one second. I'm running the numbers right now.
I mean, I got a number. So Grant, we'll just the way it works is normally we just say, do you have a number? Yeah, I got a number. Then one at a time we all say the number. I'm gonna give Leonard a minute, so I think we can go last. But let us know when you have an internal calc in mind or a number in mind for this calc.
First,
I do have a number.
You just have to vocally say you're ready, if you have your number.
I'm ready.
All right, Adi, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, Leonard, are you still working?
I'm still working. Yeah.
Also, Route 2 Iris, by the way, it's not a spread. Pledge moves aren't spread moves.
They do ignore Storm Drain if you attack the partner, which is pretty cool.
The redirection effect, yes.
They ignore the redirection effect of Storm Drain, and they apply a field effect that affects both of the Well, I guess it actually depends on which one.
Yeah.
2 of them affect the enemy side. 1 of them affects your side.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Remember when they had the fire pledge effect, the fire effect, and they also released G-Max Wildfire?
They said, man, not enough people used Fire Pledge, Brass Pledge. I
You
want
know-
to see the world burn.
I think if they bumped up the damage output from it, maybe it would have been used.
This is a 4 HP Ogre Pawn, right?
Yeah, I said no bulk, so you could actually count it as 0 if you want.
Okay.
But
Okay. I've got my number then.
all right, Leonard's got his number. All right, let's
Yeah,
let's
I'm gonna.
start with.
Oh, I guess I
Grant
need
then.
to. I need to give this as a percentage, don't I? One sec. What's the percentage of this?
So, Leonard, basically pick the middle of your percentage.
If you want to pick
Oh,
a
my-
number, that's even better.
Oh, I'm picking. I'm picking the max damage roll. I'm gonna say max damage roll is 154, so 99%. I hope I'm not wildly off.
All right, 99%. You're saying it's not KOing though.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, people are starting to put in guesses. Grant, what do you have as your number?
I came to the conclusion of 90.4%.
Oh, we're getting
Yeah.
specifics. We're getting
Alright.
decimals.
I was not that high. I was going to say 80%.
I trust that they're not cheating, Rajan. I think they probably had their numbers
Yeah.
locked
I mean,
in.
I've got my stuff here. I do have the math on. I have my.
No, not
calculator.
you. No.
Oh.
Rajan was saying
Oh.
don't let Leonard go first because then they're going to base their numbers off of you.
Oh,
Also,
I see. Okay.
for what it's worth, Rajan, you called it stupid that I that I called it a Leaf Storm calc. But this is just how I have to plug it into the damage calc, as far as I can tell. So let's see. So you said 252 special attack, modest, Empoleon into Ogre Pawn Wellspring with 4 HP.
No bulk.
No bulk. So
Yeah, so it's like 4 defense, I guess.
You gotta make it a
in this case,
grass type
whatever.
move too.
yeah. And
Oh
so-
wait, no. Nerdum now says he implemented pledges.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
I've already run it as a Leaf Storm calc, and Leonard nailed it. The high damage roll.
Did he
is
actually?
The high damage roll is 154.
Nice.
It is 99.3 max, and
Yeah.
then the lower roll is 83.8%, which is I think above both of our guesses. Because Grant, what'd you say? 82.
I said
You
90.4.
said 94. Okay, never mind. You got it right too.
All right, Adi, plug it in as a pledge, and then while we're doing that, Leonard, could you post the picture in the chat?
Oh, yeah, I can. Yeah.
And
So,
then,
like I say, a lot of this is just going to be scribbles. But let's see if we can do that for you.
This is so funny.
Yeah,
All right.
because a lot of it was like actually using the calculator on.
Do you
Just
do you ever
for-
bust this out when you're like testing mechanics, or
It's rare that I need to do a manual damage calc because the actual damage calculators are good.
yeah?
But sometimes I do. If I really want to check something, like damage overflow setups, I have to do manually. So
Have you ever done this in tournament?
no, there's no way. Like in order to pull that off, like I'd have to do it between games of a set. Like I'd have to write
Yeah.
down a number and then like calculate it in between games of a set. And like even then, because like if I do that, then I have to calculate 2 results as well. I have to calculate the min roll and the max roll, and then like that doesn't tell me much either because it's very hard to do it in reverse. Or like you're asking like given this damage roll, how much attack did they have? Because it could be a variable number.
Yeah.
And that's the relevant information you need. So it'd just be impossible at an in-person event unless you really practiced it. And you'd also have to have like you'd have to be able to multiply very large numbers because like the first calculation in this step is 150 times 22 times 179, and then you divide that by 116.
Oh,
like
that
that's
does not
just
sound fun. Those
Yeah,
numbers
that's
all
just-
sound gross.
yeah, that's just very difficult to calculate offhand.
Wait. So
That's
That
why I'm
is
using a
actually
calculator. Yeah, that's why I'm using an actual like a pocket calculator to
Yeah.
to run the numbers. But
So did
Yeah.
you know Ogre Pawn's stats beforehand and Empoleon stats beforehand, or you look that up?
no, I did look that up. If that was cheating, then let me know. But I did look up their base stats. Their base stats.
No, that's fine. Just because you were doing this special case thing for the people that are calculating it in the other scenarios that aren't doing it by hand, we usually don't let people look up stuff. Because like
Okay.
usually because it'll be like we'll pick an obscure Pokemon like Yanmega again. It's
Yeah,
like,
and then I
I
wouldn't-
don't know Yanmega's special attack, and it's like, well, that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Like we did like Heavy Slam from Appleton or something. It's like, oh,
Isn't
how much
it?
is that
It
kind
has
of weight?
it has no weight. I know that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think it was
It's
Flapple.
always into Fluttermane.
I think I did a Flapple Heavy Slam because Flapple
Yeah.
actually weighs less than Flutter. It's kind
Is
of
it?
amusing.
Oh, isn't it one of the Pokemon where it's like that's one of the Pokemon where it's slightly more optimal to run Mousehold 4 instead of Mousehold 3 because it's heavier.
Maybe
It
you
takes
said
less than
Appleton.
some Heavy
That was
Slam.
Appleton. I think it was
I think
Appleton.
I think Appleton is. I think another one is like Roly Coly Heat Crash. I think
Yeah, I think it's like Carbon Heat Crash or something. Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
All right, let's go ahead and on to the next calc. Audie, do you have a calc ready?
I do have a calc ready. For the first time, I got one ready ahead of time. So one of my favorite Pokemon in this regulation has been Baxcalibur because you get to pair it with Ninetales. I think a couple of top takes ago I talked about the Gisa's team that was really cool. That had a Ninetales Bax and just was set using the bulk that Bax got to inhale or snow to really take advantage of its new setup moves. And so my calc is, first off, trivia question. You've got a Baxcalibur in snow, and it's got Aurora Veil up. Is Wicked Blow or Close Combat doing more damage from Urshifu Single Strike?
Huh.
If you get this one wrong, you don't get to do
Wait.
the calc. I led my Baxcalibur and my Ninetales Alola, and I clicked Aurora Veil, and then you clicked either Wicked Blow or Close Combat into my Bax. Which one is doing more damage? Don't guess the damage.
I'm pretty sure it's close combat.
I was going with CC as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna say close combat.
It is CC. I think it does the
should be
same amount of
CC, yeah.
damage, or about the same amount of damage pre Wicked Blow nerf. But I was eyeballing it, and Wicked Blow does just slightly less. So with that in mind, Close Combat from 252 attack, Choice Band Urshifu, 252 attack Adamant, Choice Band Urshifu, into 4 HP, 4 defense Baxcalibur in snow through Aurora Veil.
All right, Leonard. This time, don't do it. You don't have to do the hand calc because I want to see how good your brain calc is.
Oh, okay. You just want me to guess? Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Give us
let's
a
see how
number,
good your
and then
brain
you can do
calc
it by
is.
hand if you want.
All right.
All right,
yeah.
so just let us know again when you're ready. Just say like you're ready, and then that's when you're locked in, and then Audie will call on people.
I posted
have-
the calc in chat for anyone who wants to see that.
The spoiler-free version, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Um,
In Twitch chat.
okay,
I'm
I've got my
already
number.
ready.
I'm ready. Grant, you said you're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a number as well.
Got a number? All right. Leonard, let's start with you.
Yeah, my head says it would take about like 120 normally. That's what I would say. And so after the plus one, that has it down about to 80, and then 2/3 of that would be about what, like 55. So I'll guess about 55.
Okay. Alex?
I just had 60, but I didn't do it like Leonard. I just vibes 60.
Okay. And Grant?
Well, you see, the situation is I ended up fighting an Avalugg in that tournament with
True.
Snow and Aurora Veil up, and I clicked close combat. So I have a general idea. With that in mind, I'm going to say about 39%.
Oh,
Okay.
no way.
So on that, do you want
You are
to...
not fighting an Avalugg. It's a Baxcalibur.
Do you know what
Avalugg's a
Avalugg's
different-
base defense stat is?
That's very high, and
Yeah.
I'd assume Avalugg would take about 20 from a choice band, which is why I say that. I did like 10%. I'm not lying.
So Avaluggg is base 184 defense. Bax is base 92. It's literally half the base defense stat. So I have the calc pulled up.
Okay, we'll go up. We'll go up. You're making me doubt myself. Okay, we're doing 45. There we go. Locked in.
Okay, Leonard, are you doing it by hand, or do you want me to tell you?
I am doing it by hand.
All right.
So you can still say the percentages. I might be able to get the exact numbers
Okay.
as well. So just don't
It
don't
is-
say the exact numbers.
It is doing between 83.7 to
Oh my
98.9.
lord, that's so much
Yeah,
higher
it
than
is
I would have
doing-
thought.
So much more than you
Okay.
guys thought.
All right, I guess
Okay.
Bax doesn't have any EVs in this case. Bax got no bulk.
I mean, the bulk doesn't change it to make it go down to 40%. I mean, it's doing.
Oh, no,
it's
no.
still
Yeah,
a
I guess
choice
it's
band.
I guess
great
choice
here.
band. I was
I'm not
thinking, I guess I wasn't thinking choice band. That must have been my issue.
I think I
'Cause
also
after-
kind of forgot to factor in choice band.
Yeah.
How much to do if you take out the choice band? 56 to 67. which is closer.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of you guys said 60, right?
I said 60. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said
Leonard would have just
55.
missed it with 55.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm running my numbers right now, so just give me a
Sick
bit.
back spread, EV to live. I definitely calc for this. Don't worry.
Yes.
This is my back spread, by the way. If you run into me in the best of 3 ladder, I am returning 4-4 because I want to live this Urshifu. In fact, I could run 0-0, I think, and live this. Nope. 4 defense. That's the spread. It's just 0-4, 0-4-0.
Okay. That don't seem right. Oh, right. We haven't had screens yet. Okay.
CB Urshifu does 98% with close combat until you send in Flutter. True. Until you tear the Flutter on accident.
Oh
It
gosh,
does
what's
like
the
70.
screens multiplier? I think it's.
That's actually a good calc, too.
Oh, I'm gonna mess up the screens multiplier.
What? While we're waiting though, Grant, have you managed to think of a calc that you want to do?
I do have a calc in mind.
All right. Nice.
All right. Well, I've almost got my numbers. See, I'm thinking I'm screwing up the Aurora Veil number, but oh, that's got to be way off. Oh shoot, that's got to be way off. I just have done that number right. 1 second. That's what. Okay, that was my error there. And that.
What if the back is Terra Electric? Well, in that actually,
Okay.
that
I've got my min and max damage rolls. Let's see
Okay.
how close I am. 160 for min, 190 for max.
160 for min, 189 for max.
Ah, that's close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I bet I had my Auroraville number wrong. I couldn't remember the exact multi. It's not exactly 2/3. I was guessing
Oh.
2732. I'm not sure if that's right or not. Out of 4096.
I
bet it's
forgot
it's not
that's
that.
what
It's not
the
it.
ratio is. Okay.
Yeah, it's not that though. That's not it. I bet that was my issue.
That's still
All
that's
right,
still crazy
pretty
for us.
close.
All right, Grant, you got a calc? Let's hear it.
I do. So, I actually ran into this situation where, let's say you have a Landorus, and your opponent has a Ninetales. You swap in your Ogerpon, meaning Ogerpon Fire, meaning you're unintimidated. You are at max attack, Jolly. Landorus has no bulk. Or Aurora Veil has been set up, and you have a Chimp out. How much damage would Grassy Glide do to the Landorus with Grassy Terrain, Sword of Ruin, and the Terra Boost?
And also, they
Wait.
have
So
Aurora
is
Veil.
the Aurora Veil relevant or no?
Yes, it is up.
So
But
the
for-
Aurora on the Landorus.
Yep, Aurora Veil is up, and no Intimidate has been, I guess.
Is Grassy Train up?
Okay.
Is this grass Ogrepon?
This is priority. This is
Oh
going
no,
to be
it
Fire
was
Ogerpon.
fire. It was fire. So
Fire
you're getting the
Ogerpon?
+1 when you
Okay.
Terra.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, it's just plus
All
one.
right. So we got +1.
We want
Sword
to
of
make it more
Ruin.
complicated.
Plus
No,
one,
no, this is
you can
fine.
improve Grassy Glide from Terra Fire Ogerpon that not only gets the 1.2 boost, but also the one stage attack boost, and then also Grassy Terrain boost as well.
Why are you guys making me do this? I'm not this by hand.
No,
This
don't
is-
do this one by hand, Leonard. You don't have to do
my
this one by
God.
hand.
You know,
Oh my god.
I didn't want you to actually have to do the second one by hand. I just wanted the novelty of the one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, now you just have to guess this one in your head.
Okay.
So
wait, what did you say? What did you
alright.
say that? Wait, so one question. What did you say the veil modifier was? Because Nerdonap posted it in chat.
It's about 2/3.
He said 2.
No. But what was the number you had?
Oh, 2732, but that's not right.
That's what he says is in the calc.
Oh, it is 2732? Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I did get it right. Maybe I just had a fudge number somewhere else then. I was only one off, so it could have been as simple as I just I may multiply something in the wrong order.
All right,
So I thought it was 273. Okay, I'm glad it was 2732.
Yeah,
I'm
you did
glad
say that. That's crazy.
Yeah, not bad.
All right, for Landorus into Ogerpon.
I've got an answer.
Yeah, I've got my number.
Yeah, I've got it.
Everyone have it?
Yeah,
All right. We'll start with you, Adi.
I think I am not a believer, especially with the Grassy Glide nerf. I'm saying it's doing, let's say 88.
Okay. Leonard?
I think it's doing 100%. I think it's dying.
It's gone.
Really? Okay.
I'm gonna go with 82.
Hmm.
All right,
Right.
let's go ahead
Yeah.
and have Adi plug it in then.
I
And
see
who-
Zenconic in chat asking if it was versus him.
You will be very surprised.
I'm ready. Yeah, was this your round 12?
Yeah, this is kind of what I'm referencing. That would never happen,
This is Jolly.
as you know,
252 attack.
because you're the one.
No Aurora Veil. Sorry, there is Aurora Veil. We got the Sword of Ruin boost. We got the Terra boost. We got Grassy Glide in grassy terrain. And +1. Wait, hold up. This is +2. This is +1. Okay. +1, 252 attack, Sword of Ruin, Terrifier, Ogre Pawn, Heartflame, Grassy Glide 1.2 boost into grassy terrain up, yeah. Into 4 HP, 0 defense, Landorus, Therian, and grassy terrain. Through Aurora Veil is doing 61 to 73, or 61.8 to
Yeah.
73.3.
You
And Grassy
overestimated.
Glide got nerfed. What the heck?
All right, changing it to
Come
70 base
on.
power, seeing what it looks like.
No,
Yeah.
they ain't got to kill with 70, but
70, I knew the number. It was doing 78 to 80, 92. Without my internal calcs are still Gen 8 built.
oh my gosh.
God damn. All right, fair enough.
Big diff.
Yeah. All right, Leonard, you're up. You got
All right,
a calc in
yep.
mind?
I do have a calc in mind. All
Let's
right.
go.
This one will be a little bit less elaborate than y'all, but still important to keep straightforward. Let's say you've got your friend Ogre Pawn Hearthflame, and you're trying to use Ivy Cudgel into that Heatran. Doesn't have ability shield, but they have an ally Clefairy with Friend Guard. How much is that? How much is that Ivy Cudgel going to do to that Heatran?
Okay. So we don't have any kind of like Sword of Ruin, and we're obviously not +1 because we wouldn't be able to hit it.
Exactly.
Okay. Ivy Cudgel. Oof. What was the
What's
bulk of
the
the
multiplier
Heatran?
for
max
Friend Guard?
HP, max HP on the Heatran. Just max HP, no 4 defense.
Okay.
What's the multiplier for Friend Guard again? It's like the same as Veil, right?
You don't know
No.
it. You don't know it. That's what that's what it
I
is.
forgot.
Well, it's not that.
25%. Yeah.
I've got my number.
There's no Terra on the Heatran, right? It's just normal Heatran.
Yeah, it's
And it was
just
a
regular fire
Jolly,
deal.
Jolly Ogre.
Yeah, Jolly Ogre
Yeah.
Pawn.
I'm ready.
All right, what are your guys' numbers?
Well, is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
So Leonard, just pick on somebody to call,
Okay.
and I'm able to go one at a time.
you go first then, Alex.
All right, 42.
42. All right, how about you, Adi?
I'm saying a little higher. I'm saying it's 2 shots. 51.
51. All right, and last but not least,
Grant, what you got?
Grant.
Knowing
Yes.
that Ivy Cudgel typically does about 50 neutral. With Friend Guard up, I'd say about like 35-ish, considering the bulk.
35. Oh my
35
gosh.
to like 38.
Yeah, Clefairy needs to put in that work there. Yeah.
So I
It
got
does.
All right.
252 attack, Mold Breaker. It's not Adamant. It's Jolly, right?
That's right. It's Jolly.
Ogre Pawn, Hearthflame, Ivy Cudgel into 252 HP, 0 defense, Heatran with Friend Guard is 35.3 to 41.9.
Wait,
You're
Nope.
welcome.
But
You're
it's
welcome.
not-
Leonard, what did I say?
But here's the thing. Our friend, the damage calculator here, is not accounting for something. What's our friend Ogre Pawn's ability?
Mold Breaker. Damn it, I forgot.
Which
He trolled
means,
me.
which means
troll.
that Friend Guard is not active. So it does not actually. So Friend Guard, if you click that button and it does something, then that's a bug. I'm like I said, I don't have the stream up right now, but
It did do something, yeah.
That's so
well, it's not
trouble.
supposed to. So it should. The Friend Guard was a misdirection. Like
Damn it, I
Clefairy
forgot.
itself.
I got owned. No.
yeah.
go.
No.
So what was the final numbers?
So
What was the range?
without Friend Guard, it is 46.9 to 56.
Oh, then you're right in there, Adi, with
So-
51.
Yeah, no, I actually knew the entire time that Friend Guard would not be.
Adi's stupid, man. Adi just did it wrong.
Or did it wrong and got it right.
Or nerd of now getting exposed in his own segment, man.
Yeah, getting it,
He's in chat right now, updating the calc. I'm gonna refresh. It's gonna be fixed.
Oh gosh.
Top 10 bugs in the Nerd of Now VGC damage calculator.
Yeah.
God damn it.
All right. Well,
I'm so mad because I did know that, but I also forgot.
so I think that is going to wrap it up from us. If you missed part of the stream of the podcast, you can check it out on YouTube, on my YouTube channel on Wednesday. So you can check that out at CK49. Thank you both for coming and being on the show. Really appreciate it. Did you have any shout outs, plugs, anything you wanted to mention before we ended it?
I'll say real quick, Frieza, you are way too late. This is the end of the stream. If you want, we could raid you. Go start streaming or something. But it's
we
over.
already told Nails we'd raid Chris.
Oh, is that happening right now?
Yeah.
Hell yeah! All right, let's do it. But first, yeah, do you guys have any shouts or anything you want to mention?
Nope. Other than again, give credit where credit is due for best of three. That's to Mia and Karthik again helping out so much with that, and especially Mia. I did help quite a bit with it, but Mia did a bulk of the coding. So if you're grateful for it, say thank you, Mia.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mia.
Can we get some thank you Mias in chat?
Right? I mean, the Showdown is just popping off right now. Game of the year, as Blunder always says.
Yeah.
Showdown is still in beta. Game of the year.
Absolutely is.
All right.
Grant,
with
you got
that,
any
then that's
final
gonna be
words,
it for
shout
us.
outs, things you want to plug?
Since I forgot to mention it in the interview of the tournament, I will say Giovanni Sishki, the most underrated and goated player.
Polar bear.
Oh, yeah.
Or peculiar bear.
Yes, sir. Peculiar bear.
Yeah. Did not show up to the Houston local. Neither did I. But he's definitely one of the strongest players in Texas. So yeah.
For sure.
Well, thank you both again for tuning in, and we're gonna hand you off over to Chris Danzo, well-known VGC player. I think it's Chris Danzo, right? That's Lunar.
Yeah.
Who's doing a SCL DOU recap stream with some other top players. Z is going to be participating in that. So if you're interested in DOU content or just want to hang out with some other cool people while they talk about Pokemon, going to hand you off there. But that's going to do it from us. Thank you guys for tuning in.